Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Well, good morning, and another, really, this winter is so much fun. Another cold start to the day.
Just when we have some warmer type weather.
Well, we had a little
warmer.
bit. What it did is it kind of melted everything up so that the cold could come in and just freeze everything.
Yeah.
And we have a winter weather advisory in effect that could turn into a winter storm watch Thursday and Friday. And there will be more the potential for additional accumulation. Davey, get on microphone, please. Davey.
Quickly.
I need to talk you back.
Don't you guys wish you were in Florida right now?
Believe me. I need to talk you back. Please.
Off the ledge?
Do not. Are you listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at me?
Mm-hmm.
Do not, under any circumstances, tear down any light poles tonight in Syracuse if they win.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, Andrew said you're going to. He was telling me you're going to be tearing down light poles and
He's going to be
and
holding the Molotov cocktail ready to throw.
Yeah, kicking in storefronts. You can't do it, Davey. You sure?
Yes.
All right.
The only part of the celebration that I was part of in Syracuse was when they won the national championship back in 2000.
What did you do? Did you tear down light poles then?
No, I just jumped around, took my shirt off, and...
Oh, you did take your shirt off.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
It's always fun.
I was hoping to do that with the Buffalo Bills this year, tearing down a couple light poles.
I know. Well, I took my shirt off and threw it on the ground and started stepping on it during that game.
I would never do any damage to anything.
No. Ryan Schmelz, the latest on the Trump cabinet. Some of the controversial nominees get committee votes. There will be an overall vote coming up. Salsa this morning. We're going to talk a little salsa.
We're going to dance, or?
We're talking about the Super Bowl snack.
Oh, yeah.
It is a snack at all times. Melissa K. Swartz, Missy and I when I advised her on how to proceed with the Caitlyn Conley case.
Is that right?
I want to say that thankfully she listened.
She did mention something about that when I talked to her.
Thank Bill for his advice. It really worked out. Seriously, what is a Cambereri and Brennick is out of Syracuse?
Yes, it's a Syracuse firm.
Melissa K. Schwartz handled now it usually takes a specialized attorney to handle the appellate court. It doesn't have to be, but usually you hire someone to handle your appeals. The appellate court is a very difficult court to win in.
Mm-hmm.
I might have heard, I don't know what the number is, but it's like 25% or 20% of cases end up coming out with a fond, positive outcome. In other words, in most cases at the appellate level, you lose.
Yeah,
but in this case, it did not happen, and I think everybody knew this was going to be the judgment coming out. We knew a week before it happened. So I want to dig in and just explain a couple things that we've learned coming up.
I just don't think that some people realize how unprecedented this is.
Oh, it's big.
That this happened. And, to be honest with you, being in the courtroom yesterday and...
Andrew, by the way, was there. Nice job on... I got to tell you, what no one knows is this was really all last minute because we didn't think cameras would be allowed in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So luckily, this shows you where we are today in 2025. Luckily, on Andrew's person, he had a cell phone, and he was able to stream the thing live. Here's the problem. No tripod, No, Andrew, his hand holding up the phone, and for a lot of people, you put us right into the courtroom.
I
Yeah.
told him this morning when I saw him, I said, real good job, Andrew. I watched it. You
thank
did a
you.
real good job.
It was really something that was very awesome, and I was at the edge of my seat watching this thing. And we'll talk about that coming up if you haven't seen it, because there's a lot more to just the outcome of this. But nice job.
Well, thank you. And to be in the courtroom, it's so funny. We were there in the thick of it. This show covered the first trial, the second trial.
I was going back and looking at some of the stuff we've had the family on. We've had the sisters on who feel that the sisters of Mariota who feel and still to this day have signs on lawns and there's a movement free Caitlyn sorry, I do that all the time.
Jeez.
Caitlyn Conley, and it has been a ton of coverage in this, and it's been heated at times because a lot of people there are a lot of people who feel that she didn't do it, but when you speak to law enforcement, when you speak to the DA's office and those, they're very confident they got the right person. So now when something like this happens on a technicality, one thing that no matter how you stand on this whole thing, I really believe you should be thankful that you're living in the United States of America, even today, where we're also very divided. The fact that you can, on a technicality, even though the court, maybe the DA's office, the prosecution, the state, everybody thinks you're guilty, even on a technicality, you can be released because your constitutional rights were violated. Mm-hmm. And that is, so people, I can't believe she's out. I can't believe they let her out. Well, that's what happens in America when you don't follow the Constitution. And somewhere along the line, a mistake was made, and it's worthy of letting her out. This does not fall into the category, though, of double jeopardy. They can try her again.
They most certainly can.
For a third time, believe it or not. And we'll get into some of that as well here this morning. We'll talk to Melissa Schwartz, who is the attorney. Also, Tom Wires was the private eye who worked on the first trial. And we'll speak with Tom a little later on. Ryan Nobles from NBC. There's just a lot to get to. But
sitting in the courtroom and hearing Judge Clark say the words, "Miss Conley, you're free," and then seeing the emotional embrace of her parents was kind of a surreal moment, because you mentioned the signs and you mentioned the efforts to try to free her, and people never giving up hope on that side of the coin that she's innocent, was really kind of surreal and crazy, and it was quite a moment, to say the least.
Right, you're seeing both sides, because there's another side that felt that she should not be.
Vitriol.
Yeah.
And actually, I had the opportunity, and they didn't, I kind of got the vibe they didn't want to come on the show this morning or make any comment on the record, but I did have the opportunity to speak to both Caitlyn's mother and father, and what I can share is they were very emotional, and this was a big moment for them.
So, and you caught that on your little iPhone camera. You caught it, and I kept saying, "Boy, Andrew, go back to her." As Judge Clark was announcing her, really finishing up the formalities of her decision. And I'm like, I want to, because you could see she had started to cry. She was wiping tears from her eyes. And then you could see in the back behind her was her mom and dad and family. They were beginning to cry. And you got the shot right on her. We saw all of that. We saw her embrace with her dad first, then with her mom, then back to her dad and some others. It was really something to be seen. Now, does this mean... Here's the thing about the court system. You're never found innocent. You're found not guilty, right?
Correct.
And so that's just at the very base of it all. But I think in this situation, you got to remember, she's out on a technicality, and the appellate court gave the prosecution the chance to retry the case. Somewhere along the line, the Todd Carville, the new district attorney in Oneida County, felt that the case law and the interpretation of what the appellate court had said in their order was that the court could institute basically it would be essentially another arrest.
Yeah, she could have been held at Oneida County Jail for 45 days.
45 days.
If Judge Clark had ruled that.
While they
convene a grand jury.
While they convene the grand jury, while they present the case to the grand jury. And if the grand jury didn't indict, then she would be let go. If the grand jury did, then she could always post bail. And I thought that's where they were. I really felt, after talking to the DA yesterday, that's where they were going to go. And Judge Clark had already done the research, and she even referenced her law clerk and the 2 days or day and a half of research that her law clerk had done on this case. And she went back to a case in 1984 where from the appeals court in New York, the highest court, and she said, I have no right to hold her.
Yeah.
And here's why. We have just vacated the entire conviction against her, which means this is a woman who has no charges against her right now.
Yeah, and according to the appellate court, as far as they're concerned and everybody else, here on Wednesday, February 5th, Caitlyn Conley does not have a conviction.
She does not have an arrest.
Her record's been sealed. She has a clean record until they decide to charge her again.
They're returning her DNA submissions. They're returning any money she has paid to the court for whatever.
Yeah.
And
not the lawyers, but
yeah, well,
the court.
all of that that's paid to the state, if you will, is coming back. So but it's funny. This is how you and I both interpreted this whole thing from the very beginning. And if you go back to one of the stories that I wrote on this, I said she'll have to be rearrested.
Yes.
And then they can hold her for whatever, 45. That's how I thought it was going to go. But apparently the DA felt that the appellate court gave Judge Clark the opportunity to just hold her. And she was adamant. She was not having it. In fact, I really felt for Todd Carville at a couple of points.
It was interesting.
Was scolding. And every time he would go to speak, she would interrupt him and say, this is wrong.
Yeah.
You're talking about as if I were the appellate court. So it was really something to be seen.
At times, it was like Judge Clark was back in her role as assistant district attorney, because she would say to the DA,
the other part of this.
Do you agree XYZ?
Yeah.
It was very interesting to watch.
That is the other part of this, is that she's been there, and you have this new DA, and it was it was something to watch. If you get an opportunity to pick up the feed, and I'm not sure that does Facebook save it like
30
YouTube
days.
does?
So it's on our Facebook page right now.
And some of the audio at times was a little bit choppy at times because of the feed that was coming from the internet feed, but otherwise it was. And just think about Andrew for an hour holding the right arm.
So we're in the jury box. Luckily, we're in the jury box. I'm in the front row, and at times I was able to, when Judge Clark was really talking. I was able to rest the elbows. So,
wow.
Showering this morning was a little bit sore, but
I'll bet.
We're good.
Anyway, we'll speak with the defense attorney for Caitlyn Conley. I'll also find it'll be and it was interesting too, because she said, on top of the fact that we have no right. I mean, at one point the judge said this would be akin to us going out in the street and just grabbing somebody and saying, "Oh, the county is going to prosecute you, but we're picking you up now while they put their case together.
We need some time to put it together."
Yeah, so we're going to hold you for 45 days. She said, "You can't do that. It's a violation of somebody's constitutional rights." It was really something. Anyway, we'll speak with Melissa Schwartz on it. All of it coming up after the free money question, a little later on this morning, and then Tom Wires, as I said, was a former private eye in the first case. So, wow, wasn't it something to watch? So she's free.
So how the logistics of all of that, right? A lot of people, we were kind of watching to see what would happen upon the ruling of the release. She did have to take a DOCCS, New York State Department of
back
Correction,
to Westchester County.
Back to Westchester, Bedford Hills. She had to go back on the transport with the correctional officers to the facility for her parents to then pick her up there because they have to release her from that facility. They can't release her in the courtroom.
Even after all this, it was technicalities. Yeah. You would have thought they could have done this remotely, then let her out of the jail. And
at one point, it was very interesting. I could hear Caitlyn talking to the correctional officers because she was still at the beginning of the hearing. Judge Clark asked them to remove her hand restraints and her wrists, but her ankle restraints were still on. So at the end, when she was released, she was asking if she could, there was a conversation going on with the family and her and the correctional officer, and one of the correctional officers was explaining the process. And she said to the correctional officer, "You heard the lady," as if to say, "Take my ankles off. Can I go?"
Wow.
So, but she's, I guess after all that time, one more day or night in under custody.
Or the full day of driving back there.
Yeah, right.
But her attorney had made it clear, listen, she's returned for all of these court proceedings. She has been here every day for every trial. The only time she violated anything from the court was when she actually went out one night, apparently, or maybe it was
feel
2
like
nights.
I remember that.
Remember that happening?
Then,
she was warned by the court, do not do this, you're on house arrest.
Yeah.
And there were no violations after that. She said she had an exemplary record in jail. In fact, that she helped others while she was in jail, that this was not a person that is a flight risk. So it was something to watch.
It'll be interesting to see if she's not charged again, or if charged and found not guilty again, what her life will hold.
Are we ready to go through a whole other trial?
I spoke to another member of the media yesterday in the box, and this person said to me, "I think that the community has Caitlyn Conley fatigue as far as the trial goes."
I'm already hearing from people this morning saying I've always thought she was innocent.
Just let it go.
So now you got to find a jury that's going to. And who's going to try it? Because this
Judge
is a
Bauer
new
and Judge Nolan are
DA's office. You'll have
former
to find,
DA's office.
Find another judge to handle it. I don't know. But Melissa, it looks like Melissa Swartz will be her attorney if there is another trial. I don't know that
That's
to be
what it
true,
seems
but
to
it
be.
looks that way. All right, so a lot of stuff happening. We have coming up in just a second, we'll speak with Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Let me do a quick break, and also just remind you that tomorrow during the day they're calling for snow, and overnight tomorrow night into Friday morning could be a little on the tricky side. Currently, we have a winter weather advisory in effect. In fact, reading some material through Ray at the Weather Channel, he's saying we may look over the course of the next week and a half at 3 different storms. About every 2 days, something making its way back through the area.
Ugh.
We'll see what Richard says. It's coming up here at WIBX.
Advisory in effect for Thursday morning, 4 a.m. until Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m. as mixed precipitation around. Going to be kind of messy. More snow, obviously, in the North Country. Lots of sun today, but only 20 after a frigid start to the day. Snow come in towards sunrise tomorrow, mixed with some sleet and freezing
everyone,
rain, maybe a little rain in the afternoon. But again,
February is Heart Health Month, and we're here to remind you how important it is to take care of your heart. At Fit Body Boot Camp, we know that heart health is key to overall wellness, and we're proud to support Go Red for Women this month. Every workout you do strengthens not just your muscles, but also your heart. Whether it's breaking a sweat in a high-energy session or committing to a healthy lifestyle, small choices make a big impact. Let's come together this month and take care of our hearts. At Fit Body Boot Camp, we want you to live your best life.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
You work hard for a living here in the Mohawk Valley. You make a difference. You leave your mark. You deserve a financial advisor who works hard for you.
Local, prudent, and trustworthy. Van Meter & Van Meter are your full-service financial professionals. I'm Chris Van Meter, and I've spent my life helping people with financial planning, investing for the future, managing their wealth, planning their taxes, thinking about their legacy.
And I'm Dave Van Meter. Our team offers you the deep bench of financial professionals you deserve. We have the education, the experience, and the tools to make a difference for your future. Visit us at VanMeterLLC.com.
We're Van Meter & Van Meter. Call us at 315-823-9200 or visit us in Little Falls, Schuyler, or Palatine Bridge.
Securities and advisory services offered through Cattery Grant & Company Incorporated, a registered investment advisor and member FINRA SIPC. Van Meter & Van Meter LLC and Cattery Grant & Company Incorporated are separate entities.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
I want to read a statement from someone this morning that I think is just the world right now in a nutshell, especially if you're in that field. It's Rob saying, boy, I picked a good year to retire from plowing. And man, is he right.
Yeah, well, if you're a per plower, you're doing good this year. If you're a flat rate plower,
I never do per plow. And I'm always like, boy, we spent, whatever, this year to have our driveway plowed. And I think he might have come 3 times. And that's year after year after year. Yes. Well, this is an opportunity for the homeowner or the business owner to be able to say, well, this year I'm getting my money's worth. Because it's
and my last 3 years' money's worth.
It's like every other day the plow guy's got to come.
I know.
Oh, and that one plow woman I know, they got to come. Yeah. But it is, that's where we are. And you're right. Holy moly. A couple of comments here this morning. Donna says, I don't know anyone on either side of the Caitlyn Conley case, but listening previously, I always thought it was maybe the husband and that Conley was set up. I think we have to be careful with stuff like that just because, right?
Well, they're immune now, both him and Adam.
Immunity and him and the son, right? Yeah.
And just, to Donna's point, again, without lodging any accusations, I say this with that as a preface. The motivations, the alleged motivations of the possible 3, the possible motivations for the 3, hers kind of made the least sense to me.
I really felt so too, yeah.
You've got, well, we won't get into it too much, but I always thought that, the motivation that she would have had as opposed to the other 2 possibly having was just a little bit far-fetched.
Here's the other part of this that is interesting. By the way, Joe, this morning, Joe Joseph, I think we should start calling you F. Lee Keeler. Oh, yeah. Like
please don't. It'll go right to his head,
Joe.
It
will. It definitely will.
Please don't do that.
Mm-hmm. And I got to say, though, that when I heard somebody yesterday say, come on, I mean, it was clear that and the evidence, and maybe now this evidence won't be admissible anymore, is that she said she was trying to get away from him, yet there are text messages where she's almost getting back with him. And I just want to say, if you've ever been in a volatile relationship, 26 years, by the way, with my wife, I'm very lucky.
Yes.
But previously, I might have dipped my
your toe in some murky water.
Yeah. And in a very volatile relationship. And what happens, you have to understand, especially when you're with somebody for a long time, you do have those melancholy moments where you're like, God, I'm sitting here all by myself. I
miss you.
We did have some good times, and then your mind will all of a sudden go back to think about only the good times, and before you know it, you're texting
reminded.
And you're, that. So I can see how on both sides, him and her, how that could actually happen. So for us to just feel like it's automatically absolute is not the way it always works. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let me go to Ryan Schmelz right now from Fox News Radio, standing by, the man Trump cabinet, some controversial nominees getting through committee votes. What do we know, Ryan? Good morning.
Quite the transition there, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Ryan's never been in any volatile relationship.
Right. I mean, right? You ever have one of those where it's like, I got to get out of this. You get out of it and you're like, but that time that, she came in and gave me that box of chips to take to the casino. I'm like, that was really nice.
Or she threw a shoe at me. I mean, she didn't really mean it. She was just being playful.
Yeah.
We are.
Usually when I've gone through breakups, I'm usually run its course.
Well, listen, what I got to tell you is the smartest thing you can do, and the best thing for both parties, is cut it off and don't be nice. You don't have to be terrible about it, but don't go getting, you have to do a total purge of social media. Yeah, phone numbers, everything. Don't go getting soft, because it'll
stick to it.
It'll not end up well. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Trump cabinet picks.
Oh, there we go. That's what we're talking about. So this is the next step here.
Yes. I mean, the art of the deal has been floated around over the last 24 hours because J.D. Vance actually being the deal maker for the Trump administration, where he has been meeting with a number of senators who have been on the fence with some of these nominees. And he's been a very valuable tool in getting some of them to yes. He was able to help get Todd Young to yes. He was able to on Tulsi Gabbard, and he was able to help get Bill Cassidy to yes on RFK Jr.'s nomination. And now it looks like both of them, after being voted out of committee, are kind of on the right track to being confirmed at some point.
It does. So now we go to the full Senate vote. In that case, what's the holdup? And I'm assuming it has to do with trying to keep her in a voting position as long as you can with Elise Stefanik, because we're still waiting for her to be confirmed and resign, which opens the floodgates here for these candidates that are trying to get their appointment from the committee chair.
Yeah, I think with Elise Stefanik's nomination, he's already got his Secretary of State in place, so kind of the big, maybe bold things that they're going to pursue or some of the basic stuff they're going to pursue, that they have the team in place to go ahead and handle that. But yes, I mean, he's going to want his ambassadors to the UN at some point, but it's a snail's pace that they're working with right now because it's just how the Senate is. There's a number of procedural issues they're running into. And as Democrats get more and more ticked off with what's happening out of the Trump administration, they're becoming less and less cooperative when it comes to moving this agenda along. So there's a number of factors playing in here for why this might not be moving as fast as they want. But Thune keeps referencing that they're still way ahead of where they were back in 2017 when Donald Trump was first president.
Well, it's funny. I was leaving yesterday, and the Kilmeade show came out, and they were talking about how it's amazing all of the things that have been done here, most of it with executive orders. And the problem is we're about to create a real backlog because many of these decisions, the layoffs, the firings, we're gonna dissolve this department, we're gonna get rid of the Department of Education, whatever. All of these things are going to end up in court, and that is going to really slow everything down probably pretty soon, within the next 30 days.
We've talked about that several times before, that these executive orders, a lot of them are with the intention of having the Supreme Court take up the case.
Well, they're going to, before they get to the Supreme Court, you got to go through
right, the other levels,
Ryan.
Unless the Supreme Court takes some of them up as an emergency order, which I think is certainly possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I expect birthright citizenship and some of the challenges that they've put with that to be something the court could take up. Obviously, the recent actions with USAID could lead to some legal action soon. I believe there's already been a lawsuit filed. So that's kind of one of the reasons why eventually Donald Trump's going to need Congress to act on a number of these things. And that's what they're working on. They've got the reconciliation process that they're trying to do, the one big beautiful bill. And in many ways, that is to codify a number of these big agenda items in the law so that either the courts can't hold them up, or if a Democrat's president in 4 years, it's going to be challenging for them to overturn it.
Right. Well, that is right. If it's just executive order. And here's the problem. A lot of this stuff has to be approved with a law or by Congress. And they're going forward with it anyway, thinking that maybe the Supreme Court will rule on their side. I would not hold my breath for that, because there is a separation between legislative and executive. There is a presidential powers issue here. There's a lot of stuff here that is well beyond the actual closing of an institution or firing of people. There's a lot of precedents going on here.
Exactly. And I think the one thing that Donald Trump's been talking about lately is the idea of ending the Department of Education, which is going to be extremely hard to do because it's going to take an act of Congress, and ending agencies is very challenging. I believe you need a significant amount of votes. It's kind of considered a constitutional amendment. So that's going to be a challenge just in and of itself. So, there maybe a drastic scale back could be possible, but then when you pursue that, I think you run into the same issues you're seeing with USAID, where you're trying to do a scale back without Congress's help. Yeah. And next thing you know, there could be legal challenges to that.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you've ever, and by the way, Department of Education, you're dealing with a great deal of people with learning disabilities. There's a lot of that there. Additionally, the student loan system, that will be a mess to sort through when this is all said and done. So it's something to keep your eye on. It is. And have you ever played the game Kerplunk?
No.
Kerplunk is the game that it almost looks like a gumball. You know the old gumball,
it's
like the glass gumball?
Plastic cocktail shaker, and you have
and you put in all of these sticks, like these little sticks.
Plastic sticks, yeah. They look like spaghetti.
And you're going in like...
and you fill the top with marbles.
And the marbles go on top, and then you pull out a stick, and maybe one marble comes down. You pull out you get to the point where...
I have played this game.
Yes. You get to that point where you pull out that one stick, and the whole thing comes down.
Are we still talking about relationships, volatile relationships here?
I think we're talking about both, to be honest with you. That's really what's happening here, and it's going to be very interesting to see if he can pull out enough of these sticks without having the whole thing come down and losing the game, if you will. So, to be continued, Ryan Schmelz.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And are you watching the Super Bowl? There are people who are not watching. I'm going to watch.
I'm going to watch.
Yeah, and it is hard, but you will be rooting for the Eagles.
Yes, I will be.
Okay, me too. That's where I'm at. Ryan, have a wonderful day. Thank you, man.
You too. Thank you.
All right, Ryan Schmelz with Fox News Radio.
I still it's going to be a game time decision, pun intended.
All right.
I'd still like the meme that is the map of the U.S. and it notates with the color of Kansas City Chiefs and the colors of the Eagles who's rooting
I think
for
it's
who.
all green, isn't it?
And no, it's green in Philadelphia, it's red in Kansas City, and then the rest of the map is gray. And then the map key says in gray, pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks.
That's a funny meme. Yeah, that's a funny one. What's wrong, Davey? Everything okay?
I'm rooting. I'm going to do my pick now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. You've won.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Eagles.
You are. I think I am, too. I mean, I don't think I am.
Hoping.
I know I am. Yeah. Did you see that plane yesterday? The airplane that they were just getting ready. Can you imagine? You're just getting ready to take off. You have all these plane stories going on right now, right? The airplane crashing, the other airplane crashing, another one.
Wing hitting the vehicle.
Yeah. And all of a sudden they look out the window and there's smoke coming from the wing and then flames.
There's something on the wing, something.
Then they stop the plane and they're like, people, we got to get off. They do an emergency exit. Everybody gets off the plane and it goes up in flames.
The plane burst into flames?
Well, it was burning, that's for sure.
Wow.
I even have a little audio on this one. This was In Houston, the fire department was called out after the right wing of a United Airlines plane caught on fire midway through takeoff. Here we go.
We had a big popping sound that was loud enough to startle me out of my sleep, and then the plane actually jolted to a stop. Seeing the smoke off the wing was really scary, and then seeing the intensity of everyone just trying to get off the plane.
So she's like, she was sleeping. And if you've ever flown out of one of the big hubs, like a Houston or an Atlanta, New York, you oftentimes will be on the plane for about 45 minutes to an hour before you even, sometimes it's even longer, before you even get to take off. So she had fallen asleep, and then all of a sudden, boom.
You wake up and there's smoke. I mean, that's got to be.
Yeah. And luckily, you're looking at that and you're on the ground. Unluckily, you got to exit the plane. And by the way, people are trying to reach in and grab their overhead stuff, and the attendants or flight attendants are like, you can't take that. Just leave. I'm sorry, I'm taking my laptop.
Yeah, I mean, think about how difficult and annoying the process is to deboard a plane when there's not a fire and smoke.
Yeah, think about that, right. And then a pilot made an announcement on an American Airlines plane giving passengers flying from Jacksonville to Miami on Thursday of last week. After all of the stuff going on, the pilot was like, I kind of feel like people are a little nervous about flying right now. I'm going to set them at ease.
Maybe fearful about flying, and that's certainly understandable, but just please know that my first officer and our flight attendants and myself place your safety and the responsibility of carrying you to your families, your vacations, your meetings at the highest level. I have no higher calling than carefully and professionally transporting you today. So with that, relax and enjoy the beautiful evening that we get to fly in. We'll be underway shortly. Welcome.
Hard to hear, but he's basically saying,
we got you.
You might be a little worried, but we have you. Yeah. Now, you're already worried about egg prices, right? They continue to rise. This bird flu continues to spread. Just when you thought the price of eggs couldn't get any higher, this story happens.
How high are they, Bill?
In L.A., a large semi filled with, you guessed it, eggs crashed on an early morning. This would have been Monday morning, creating, number one, major delays. But also, people are like, oh, my God, look at all those eggs. Look at all those eggs.
So I guess what happened is, I'm thinking is the driver fell asleep, but for sure ended up going up the guardrail up there, hit the bridge.
Hit the bridge, and all of those eggs. Wow. You see this, there are restaurants and diners around the country that are like, it's an extra $2 if you order something with eggs in it.
Yeah. Or they've just raised their prices.
Yeah. I do wonder, some of this, I think, at times can be, well, we're going to kind of take advantage of it here. A few comments here. Mike says, is it Bills? Saying that, I guess, would be a big ego boost. Let's see. Carville would be nuts to decide to push this trial as his first big outing as DA. Okay, I was reading them backwards.
Yeah.
I think after yesterday, I would be really thinking about it. I mean, she's already been in jail almost 8 years. And this would be a third trial. And I think we kind of have a bit of exhaustion from all of this. And a lot of people are like, she's done time, just let it go. I think you may be right. We'll see. News coming up next.
Looking for an insurance agency that treats you like family? Look no further than WB Payne Insurance, a family-owned and operated agency serving the community for over 65 years. At WB Payne Insurance, they understand that family comes first, and they're here to protect what matters most to you. Whether it's your home, your car, or your business, they've got you covered. WB Payne Insurance. Learn more or get a quote today by visiting WBPayneco.com. WB Payne Insurance, protecting your family like it's their own, with smart solutions to save you money.
It's time to throw out your overpriced big wireless contract. Throw it overboard. You can get an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Galaxy for $0 with a qualifying plan of just $45 a month. Get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 25 gigs of data, mobile hotspot. You get all of it. So get your new iPhone 14 or Samsung Galaxy for $0. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, pound 250, keyword Pure Talk from Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome.
W295EI.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
It's a radical new plan for Gaza where a ceasefire still holds. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
And President Trump wants to demolish all the war destruction in Gaza and develop it into like a Riviera for the Middle East. And Fox's Jared Halpern reports from the White House.
President Trump says he won't rule out deploying U.S. troops to support a U.S.-owned reconstruction of Gaza.
We'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that.
Standing alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the president says he wants the U.S. to take ownership of Gaza and have Palestinians resettled in Jordan, Egypt, and elsewhere.
And this is Netanyahu's reaction.
He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism.
Others in the region are less enthusiastic. Saudi Arabia, an important U.S. ally, saying it would never establish ties with Israel without the creation of a Palestinian state. Rejection, too, from Gaza's neighbour Egypt and one of Europe's only mainly Muslim countries, Turkey. Hamas calling the plan a recipe for chaos.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump just posted on Truth Social about Iran that it cannot have a nuclear weapon, adding, reports the U.S. and Israel will blow Iran into smithereens are greatly exaggerated, adding he instead wants a verified nuclear peace agreement with Iran. Another Trump post congratulates Pam Bondi, who will be sworn in today as Attorney General after the Senate confirmed Bondi last night. There's a manhunt for a gunman who went on a shooting spree at the warehouse where he works and then fled last night in New Albany, Ohio.
It's a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. At least one person is dead and 5 others have been transported to local hospitals. The extent of their injuries remains unknown. The shooting happened inside a plant that makes cosmetics.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, a police officer shot dead in North Las Vegas, Nevada, when he confronted a gunman who was also killed in return fire. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
We mentioned Pam Bondi, confirmed by the Senate and set to be sworn in today as the new U.S. Attorney General. Here are the details on the vote.
Pennsylvania's John Fetterman was the only Democrat to vote for Bondi, the former Florida AG. Both the Justice Department and FBI have been under scrutiny by Democrats after Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove directed the acting FBI director to identify all current and former Bureau employees assigned to January 6th cases for internal review. The effort prompted FBI agents to file 2 separate lawsuits Tuesday. Bondi has repeatedly said she will not use her position to advance any political agenda. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
The Senate also confirmed Doug Collins as Veterans Affairs Secretary, and 2 committees voted to advance 2 controversial Trump nominees despite no Democratic support.
Making Robert Kennedy Secretary of Health and Human Services, in my view, colleagues, would be a grave threat
to the health of the American people.
Senator Ron Wyden calls RFK Jr. a conspiracy theorist and a vaccine skeptic, but Republicans advanced him out of the Finance Committee. Tulsi Gabbard, also on a party line vote, advanced out of the Intel Committee to be Director of National Intelligence. No dates are set yet for the full Senate confirmation votes for Gabbard and Kennedy. A setback for President Trump in court in one of his many controversial executive orders.
The ruling from a federal judge in Washington, D.C. temporarily blocks the transfer of 3 transgendered women to men's facilities. The lawsuit prompting the ruling was filed by the prisoners after President Trump's executive order signed on his first day in office, which aims to prevent men from being housed in women's prisons. The judge's ruling also prevents the termination of the prisoners' hormone therapy. The judge finding that the prisoners' lawyers would likely be able to prove that the president's executive order violated the Eighth Amendment prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are falling the day after a rebound from Monday's sell-off. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Morning. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time 7:05. I'm Andrew Dominio. Right now we're at 1 degree under clear skies. Yes, 1 degree. You thought that warm weather was sticking around? Ha! We'll get a full forecast from Ray coming up. A state Supreme Court judge has ruled that Caitlyn Conley is free following an appellate court decision to overturn her manslaughter conviction in connection with the death of a local chiropractor. Conley was convicted in 2017 for the poisoning of Dr. Mary Yoder. On Tuesday, Judge Bernadette Clark, despite Oneida County DA Todd Carville's objection, ruled Caitlyn was free to be released. The DA's office does have the option to try her for a third time, but that decision has not been released yet. The death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility has now been ruled a homicide. According to the Times-Union in Albany, a grand jury is going to be reviewing evidence on this case February 10th. Body camera footage showed Brooks being brutally attacked by several prison employees back in December. He was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment but could not be saved. Onondaga County DA William Fitzpatrick was named special prosecutor after the Attorney General's office recused itself. Plans to repair a B-52 bomber damaged by a tornado in Rome last summer are being released today. The aircraft has been located at Griffiths Park since the 1990s, and it was knocked over by severe wind gusts this past July. Local veterans groups are working to raise the necessary funds for these repairs. The tornado caused devastation throughout the city, and recovery efforts may take years to complete. The latest data shows there's been yet another surge in flu cases across central New York during the week ending January 25th. The area with the highest number of infections was Onondaga County with 617. That was followed by Oneida County with 277, and Oswego County was not far behind with 187. Since flu season started back in October, there have been more than 230,000 confirmed flu cases in the Empire State. And Tampa Bay area Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is making a bold claim. Posting "Let's Get Carving," Luna announced she's officially introducing legislation to add President Trump to Mount Rushmore. She says his remarkable accomplishments for our country and the success he will continue to deliver deserve the highest recognition and honor on this iconic national monument. Elon Musk said he'll even help chisel it. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time 7:08. Here's your forecast from Ray Stagek.
Winter weather advisory in effect for Thursday morning, 4 a.m. until Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m. as mixed precipitation around. Going to be kind of messy. More snow, obviously, in the North Country. Lots of sun today, but only 20 after a frigid start to the day. Snow come in towards sunrise tomorrow, mixed with some sleet and freezing rain, maybe a little rain in the afternoon. But again, a couple of inches of slushy snow and ice accumulating. But we get above freezing later, upper 30s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagek at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, we're at 1 degree under clear skies here in Marcy. It is 7:09. In sports, the Eagles have not forgotten about Super Bowl 57. The team is gearing up for a rematch against the Chiefs in New Orleans Sunday night. The sides clashed in Glendale 2 years ago, where Kansas City came away with a 3-point win. However, Philly has a not-so-secret weapon this time around in Saquon Barkley, who has rushed for more than 100 yards in 9 of his last 10 games. He's making his first appearance in the big game along with Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, and Kenyon Mitchell. The Eagles are not only trying to get revenge against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, but are attempting to stop the league's first-ever three-peat champion. The Chiefs will have their future Hall of Fame coach returning to the sidelines next season. Kansas City head coach Andy Reid said Tuesday that he will return for at least one more season following the team's appearance in Super Bowl 59. Including playoffs, Reid has amassed 301 career wins and 3 Super Bowl championships. The 66-year-old coached the Philadelphia Eagles for 14 seasons before joining the Chiefs in 2013. He has a chance to tie Chuck Noll for the second place all-time among head coaches with 4 Super Bowl wins if the Chiefs are able to beat the Eagles on Sunday. The Yankees are bringing a key member of their bullpen back for another season, according to ESPN left-hander Tim Hill. And the Bronx Bombers are in agreement to a 1-year, $2.85 million contract. The deal also includes a club option for 2026 worth $3 million with a $350,000 buyout. Hill posted a 2.05 ERA in 44 innings with the Pinstripes in 2024. He then allowed only 1 run over 8 1/3 innings of relief in the postseason. New York is coming off a loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. Syracuse has a showdown with one of the top teams in college basketball tonight. The Orange are hosting National Player of the Year candidate Cooper Flagg and his number 2 ranked Duke Blue Devils at the JMA Wireless Dome. SU has not played since Saturday when they beat California on the road by a final score of 75-66. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. and the contest airs nationally on ESPN2. If you are dealing with excruciating...
I believe if you were to take the money line, which is win or lose in betting, right? If you were to take Syracuse, Davey,
you'd have to go to Pennsylvania to Ohio to make the bet.
A $100 bet would win. You'd win $450 plus a trip to Guatemala
via the Panama Canal.
I was talking to Scott yesterday, and he was telling me about Syracuse covering all the point spreads the last couple of weeks.
Well, that's the other thing. If you're betting the line, might be a good one to get involved in. So
he'll be on Friday. He said he'll talk about it.
Legally, you can't in New York State.
Right. You can't bet on the college teams.
Boy.
If you're dealing with excruciating pain, whether it be in your back, your knee, your wrist, maybe you've got arthritis pain, plantar fasciitis. Maybe you're dealing with the pain I was dealing with, foot and ankle pain. You should go see Dr. Tim Del Medico and his staff at one of their 3 offices in either Utica, Syracuse, or Albany. This treatment is non-invasive. There's no downtime. It's a quick 15-minute procedure, and it's FDA cleared. The Revive Softwave Therapy technology allows your body's natural stem cells to attack the impacted area and promotes natural healing. This treatment has an over 80% success rate, and it's been used in Europe for over 20 years. It's fairly new to the U.S., and Dr. Tim is the first to bring it to the Utica area. Some other commonly treated injuries, shoulder pain, rotator cuff tears. Our man Roger, he listens to the show. He said his wife is a true believer in Revive Softwave Therapy and Dr. Tim. Whether you have frozen shoulder, hip pain, TMJ, carpal tunnel, neuropathy, or sciatica, this may be able to help you. This treatment. Why pay $10,000 or more for stem cell injections when you can mobilize and use your own? Get more information on this groundbreaking technology that's right here, available to you in Utica. Go to reviveutica.com. It helped me, and it's helped so many others. Reviveutica.com. You can book your appointment and see the research that went into this technology, testimonial videos, and see what the treatment is like as well at reviveutica.com. Let the healing begin with Revive Softwave Therapy, Genesee Street in Utica, now in Syracuse and Albany.
Okay, I mentioned we were going to sample a little local salsa. That's been moved to Friday.
Okay.
All right.
Darn it.
And I know you were hungry, and I love.
That's fine.
I love her salsa. But we're going to do that on Friday. Also, coming up, the Jeremy Rosenthal.
The Rosenthal Report.
Just as Andrew said, weekly legal stories. We'll get to that. Hobica's free money question of the day, Davey. What do we, how much money today here on this Wednesday? Hump Day.
$200.
$200.
Oh, I mean, he's a little more spunky. He's got a little more mojo this morning.
He has some mojo. Yeah. We'll do that coming up about 7:35. And then this hour, Melissa Schwartz is the defense attorney for Caitlyn Conley, who yesterday, see, people were like, I thought she was already released on Friday. What's going on here? Well, they had a hearing where the DA would have the opportunity to present basically his case, saying, and that's what happened yesterday, saying we want to hold her for 45 days, and the judge said you can't unless you arrest her. She hasn't been arrested. So this is a person with she has a clean record right now.
Yeah.
Think about that. So I thought they'd just come out and be like, okay, we're going to arrest you. Then you're arrested, and we're going to hold you post bail if you want, but we're going to hold you while we get the case ready.
I wonder if the DA's office had truly seen this coming, if they would have been able to prepare a grand jury ahead of time to then possibly have that as a scenario to rearrest, or if they would have had to wait for the official appellate court decision and then get the ball rolling.
Well, remember, an
grand
arrest
jury
versus an indictment are two different things. So they can arrest you. They could still arrest her, and then take it to the grand jury.
Okay,
right. Don't listen to me. I'm just.
Oh, wait till the attorneys call in here.
We'll see what the attorneys say. Anyway, in Herkimer County, there is history and commerce and beauty and snow.
Yeah.
Especially in the North Country. It is all happening in the wintertime. You can hit the slopes of Macaulay Mountain, explore hundreds of miles of scenic, well-groomed snowmobile trails, or try ice fishing, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing. Some of the fish I've seen caught out of lakes ice fishing this year are like 3 feet long. It's unbelievable. And did you know Herkimer County has a website where you can find all the events happening around town? See, it isn't so. In fact, you can even submit your event, and they'll help you promote it. It's herkimercountyny.gov, herkimercountyny.gov. Herkimer County, where history, commerce, and beauty collide. It is happening in the wintertime in Herkimer County. There's one more story that I want to get into. Here we are worried about all of what's going on in the world, with no matter what side you're on, we're a divided nation. And there's a lot of activity going on. Your head's got to be spinning on a national level. But at the state level, we're still worried about those things that really, those meat and potatoes issues that really mean something to everyone, right?
Yes.
It'll affect you in your everyday life. Like in Minnesota, where State Senator Grant Hochschild is looking to change the law in the state to once again make it legal to eat blank. I'll explain. I will explain. I'll explain when we come right back here. It's 7:17 at WIBX.
Warner Sales and Service. Building relationships, building trust.
This is Lynn from Warner Sales and Service. Mow like a pro with Hustler Turf Zero-Turn Mowers. Hustler mowers are designed to be maintenance and service-friendly for the everyday homeowner while not sacrificing the build and cut quality they're known for. Come see us at Warner Sales and Service on the Greenway New London Road in Rome, and we'll guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget.
Want selection on your next mattress? At Mattress Express, we have Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. No one else in New York State has all these brands under one roof, open 7 days a week.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Anthony Constantino. He's a local boy, a businessman, and a job creator, not a politician. He's the CEO of Sticker Mule. When he put the country's largest Vote for Trump sign on the roof of his building, the Democrat mayor threatened to put him in jail. But Anthony Constantino stood strong for free speech and Donald Trump. He refused to take down the sign. Now he's running for Congress to fill the seat being vacated by Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Constantino will fight to put our missile defense at Fort Drum, to protect our apple and dairy farmers, and to bring jobs and affordable housing back to upstate New York. Urge your Republican and Conservative Party leaders to support Anthony Constantino in the upcoming special election.
I'm Anthony Constantino, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Constantino for Congress.
Registration for America's Greatest Heart Run and Walk is now open, and they're looking to break fundraising and race records. The event returns to Utica University on March 8th, so sign up now for the 18-mile, 10-mile, or 3-mile race at uticaheartrunwalk.org. Join the American Heart Association's mission in raising money to improve and promote heart health in the Mohawk Valley. This year's goal is to raise $1 million. Sign up to race or donate now at uticaheartrunwalk.org.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, we have a winter weather advisory in effect going into tonight, tomorrow, and into Friday morning. And they're saying Thursday. I got to check and see if Richard has given us his forecast. Thursday and Friday, we can get a sizable, or at least accumulating amount of snow, if that makes any sense. Trivia time. Davey, I want you to be a part of this. Come in on this microphone. Minnesota State Senator Grant Hochschild is looking to change the law in the state of Minnesota to make it legal to eat what again, Davey?
State of Minnesota to eat what again? Bratwurst.
The deli meat.
I think he meant bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hot dog.
I'm going to say I didn't know it was illegal.
By the way, wrong. Sorry.
Dogs.
Kielbasa?
Is it okay to eat dogs in Minnesota? Wrong.
No.
To eat snow.
Just don't eat yellow snow.
The actual animal we're talking about here is beaver. Apparently, you cannot eat a beaver.
Oh, come on.
You cannot eat a beaver in Minnesota.
Bet you a lot of people are ignoring that law.
Can't do it. Not gonna do it. The animal isn't usually eaten, but it is very low in fat, they say.
Oh, good.
And it's and it's good for you too.
You can hunt for it, and you
Nice
can claim
beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Okay. That is. Listen, I'm not making this up. This is real.
You can hunt beaver, and you can get the pelt. But
in nearby Kentucky, people were like, "Come on, Daniel Boone's been doing this for years. The hell's wrong with you people?" Yeah, and I think they're going to pass it. I think they're going to be able to do that. We've been into this Saturday Night Live thing. My wife is on an SNL kick. And going back to the old days of Saturday Night Live.
Old days.
And if you have Peacock, you get to watch it all. So if you do, I just want to give you a little something if you're looking for something. So they have every episode that ever aired of Saturday Night Live is on Peacock.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. It's an NBC.
All 49 and a half seasons.
Oh, that's cool.
So there was a time when... what's his name? The guy, I forget his name, who was Monday Night Football with ABC, and then he came over to NBC, and they got rid of
Al Michaels?
No. They got rid of and SNL. They got rid of the creator of SNL.
Oh, Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Michaels. Remember, Lorne Michaels left in the 80s. And during that time, they had someone else that was producing the show. And it was
terrible.
Really bad. And then the next year, they brought Lorne Michaels back, and Lorne Michaels was given 1 year to save the program, and they were considering just getting rid of it altogether. It's run its course. Saturday Night Live is dead. It's all over. So the season 1986, and then the season 1987, Lorne Michaels came back in 1987. I would suggest you watch the final episode of 1986, spring 86, and then watch the next year, which would have been the 86-87 season, when Lorne Michaels came back. So episode, 11 or whatever the last episode is, watch that one, and you will be like, because there were some big names on that show that year, but it was awful. The format was different. Everything, it was awful. So then Lorne Michaels came back, and he went back to basically the old recipe. And the first 2 or 3 bits in that season, season 1, that episode 1, season whatever, in 1986-87, saved Saturday Night Live. And the first bit was Dana Carvey's church lady.
Wow.
That was the first bit out of the open. And isn't that special?
Isn't that special?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. You got it. And was it Satan? Right? And there were so many catchphrases that came out of that. That bit was so stinking funny.
Yeah.
And then they followed up with another one and another bit, and all those that hilarious cast. And it really is those first bits saved SNL.
It is interesting how long he has been at the helm doing this. It's almost like, do you get sick of it?
Lorne Michaels, yeah.
At some point.
Because remember, he's there every Saturday.
Oh, and the whole week?
And the week, too. But, I mean, he's got to be there during the day and then at night right up and to do the show. So take it for what it is. All right, are you ready to do our Rosenthal?
I'm always ready.
Ready for this? You got it all set? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for Jeremy Rosenthal and the Rosenthal Report. Hello, here he is, the one and only Jeremy Rosenthal
Report.
Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning.
Good morning. You got you got to work on your glottal, your vocal cords there to work that up.
It's been a long week. It's been a long week.
It has been.
I think it's time to have a musical intro for Jeremy Rosenthal. We got to work on that. Well, that is not what I'm talking about. But good morning, Jeremy. Good morning. Good to have you. We'll throw 3 legal topics at you. And by the way, I don't know if you followed this case that happened up here. It was a documentary done. It's been on Dateline.
National news.
Little Miss Innocent. The story of Caitlyn Conley. Look it up. It is. The first trial was a hung jury. Second trial, they convicted her on a lesser charge of manslaughter. She found a loophole while in jail, and
8 years later, here we are.
They had a search warrant for the cell phone, but they needed a search warrant. The search warrant was to confiscate the cell phone, not to look at the phone and what's inside. She ended up being released yesterday from prison, and now they're considering trying her again.
A third time.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll look into this, and we'll talk about it more next week. Or,
I like it.
I'll tell you what, I'm really good at guessing, and I can, any lawyer can get ready, and any lawyer can read the law.
Yes.
It takes a special one to be like, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just go. Let's just go
right.
in the courtroom unprepared. Let's just right?
I have done it where I've made the crap up. You go into a meeting, you haven't done any of your work from the night before. Boom, you pull it off.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are better than the ones where you prepare.
Follow your gut.
Spirit Airlines no longer allowing passengers with inappropriate clothing or tattoos to fly. What do you think of this one?
Well, we talked about a real similar one last week. It was Frontier, and so now we're talking Spirit. Look, I mean, just wear sleeves, right?
Right.
And just because somebody's wearing some shorts that say juicy on the bottom doesn't mean you got to look.
Right.
Right.
True.
I mean, I'm told that.
You
I'm
could.
told that. My wife wouldn't. She. But yeah. We just need to have this debate on the ground and at the terminal, and not at 40,000 feet when we're trying to.
I agree. Yeah.
So
I don't know why anybody would want to be in clothes like that when they're flying. I mean, when I'm flying, I'm like sweatpants. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit more dressed up, but
Listen.
sweatpants, sweatshirt, comfortable.
To me, Jeremy, Andrew just put this whole thing in a nutshell. He said, I don't know why anyone would want to do that. And guess what? You're not that person, so it doesn't matter what you think. In this case, that's what I think. Right?
Point taken.
Look, I want to know who ruined this fun for all of us.
I agree.
It had to be pretty good.
I mean,
it had to be pretty good.
It had to be pretty good, and now it's all gone. Cover her up.
So is it safe to say that, what's her name there? Bianca Sensory and Kanye West would not be allowed on a Spirit Airlines flight?
Yeah, that was quite an outfit.
In their defense, I mean, Spirit is a very, very, very shrewd carrier.
Yeah.
You've got to pay, I think, $12 for your belt buckle.
Yeah, you do.
If you don't- right? I mean,
That's true.
if you want like a neck thing behind your head, that's going to be $5 extra. I mean, it's a different business model.
It is,
and it attracts a
different crowd.
Right. Sleeves aren't always,
Mm-hmm.
And look, I mean, in Utica, New York, I mean, you probably have some tough guys running around there that.
Well, they'd be welcoming that attire, by the way. In Spirit, they'll come up to you and say, "I'm sorry, ma'am, you need to pay $12 to be able to wear that halter top." There you go. Right? I mean, if you wanna do it, you got to pay. Yeah. Topic 2.
Yes.
Texas Fair Defense Fund helps people get legal aid migrants. Legal aid migrants are primary recipients. I'm struggling with this. I find it alarming, the state lawmaker said. What is this story?
Okay, I love this story because I am a former board member of Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association.
Okay.
Anytime we're talking about indigent defense, it's just a topic none of us know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
One of the beautiful things about being a lawyer is that everybody hates you. Sometimes your family included.
Yeah.
And what happens is that look, defending indigent people is always going to be unpopular. Everybody hates it. And in Texas, the county picks up the tab for indigent defense, and it's always unpopular. And they fund it because, well, it's the Constitution,
right?
And we have to fund it, right? Don't blame me, blame Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
But you have to fund indigent defense. The problem in Texas, we got a really big state. I'm in a county way far north. We are, our cup runneth over. We have a lot of resources here. But what's happening is we have what's called Operation Lone Star. They're arresting people very aggressively, have been for 2 or 3 years at the border for fentanyl, for human trafficking, for document falsification. And these are state charges. And these counties don't have the resources to keep up with the indigent defense. So the state has said, okay, well, we're going to designate more funds for you, for all the state to use, but the primary takers have been down there. So, so the question is, and it's really an issue of those funds running thin in other rural parts of the state, which it intuitively makes sense that that's happening. But look, anytime we're talking about indigent defense, it's a great thing.
It is. And can you tell me because this topic came up here, so we're talking about all these illegal migrants who are not U.S. citizens, and then someone says, well, you can't violate their constitutional right. And then someone says, because I'm sure you've heard it, well, they don't have any constitutional rights because they are not citizens. That's not necessarily true, right?
Okay. Again, man, Utica, you guys are like, we're having like a constitutional, like, we're like scholars here.
We're very intellectual here.
Take it easy there, Jeremy. Take it easy.
Look, this is even before the music. I'll go search on the public domain for some good stuff. I'll send it to you.
Well, there you go. All right.
We'll have some Beethoven. So the Constitution uses different words in different parts. It very clearly says, for voting, for instance, citizen. But when it talks about speech, when it talks about other rights, it talks about persons. And the courts have come back and said person means human living here, or human that is here. So the test for whether or not you get a lawyer is, are we being prosecuted? Number one, and is this America?
Right.
You get a lawyer. Yeah.
Well, listen, I do say that, and I realize where we are today, and we're fed up, and everybody's all upset. But at the end of the day, when they look at us, I'm not sure how they're looking right now, but when they look at us, we are the nation that really takes care of everyone. We, including the rest of the world. You remember that song by the Canadian in the early 70s? It's like, America, they always get criticized, but when somebody needs help, guess who's there? It's America, and that's what does make us unique, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Paying the lawyers.
That's
always.
right.
You get it.
Listen, we have more
Always.
attorneys per capita than any other nation in the world. Topic 3, legal fighting. Now, this is similar. Legal fighting continuing over who prosecutes Native Americans in Oklahoma. This is interesting.
This is a fascinating story, too. Man, we're really nerding out today. So about 4 or 5 years ago, the Supreme Court, in a decision that's called McGirt v. Oklahoma, I'll give you the citation offline, and you can put it on the website so people can go on Lexis and search this on their own. Very fascinating opinion. In Oklahoma, you have a lot of Native American tribes that are sort of their own sovereignties. You've got the Cherokee Nation as one, the Osage Nation, the Choctaw Nation. And the law said in 2021, the law clarified it. The U.S. Supreme Court, they said for crimes that are committed on tribal territory by a tribe member, that tribe has jurisdiction. And it's got to be kind of a major crime, not a traffic crime. So, in other words, if there's a murder committed on a reservation, that the Choctaw Nation is the one that prosecutes it, not the district attorney's office or the local county. And so what's happened now is you get this situation is you've got these DAs who are prosecuting people from different tribes on somebody's ground. So they're Native American, but you're not an Osage. So we're going to prosecute. So the state's going to come in. And what's happening is there's just because in 2021 we had this massive overhaul where now these communities are in charge of prosecuting their own cases. They haven't been doing such a hot job or such a consistent job. And the local DAs are stepping in. That's what this fight is about. But man, who knew, right? Who knew that this was still a thing in the 21st century?
Well, it gets very and even trickier up here. We have the Iroquois, the Oneida Indian Nation, which is very much partnered with the county here in Oneida County. Everybody gets along. There's a big casino here, and the county has deputized their police officers, and the Oneida Nation utilizes police as well. So there's an agreement in place. But it is very interesting. If there was a murder, I think it would be tricky to see who tries who. Very interesting.
Right.
Something to look at. All right.
Yeah.
Love it. Great stuff today. We are truly scholars in the world of law. Well, at least you are. We appreciate it. There you go with your Rosenthal report.
The Rosenthal report.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy. You have a wonderful weekend. As we say here, we hate the Chiefs. Go Eagles.
There you go.
All right. Have fun.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Jeremy Rosenthal. We got a break. Davey, let's coming up, we're going to speak with the defense attorney for Caitlyn Conley, Melissa K. Schwartz. She is with Camberary. Camberary and Brennick, which is a Syracuse law firm. And, of course, yesterday, Caitlyn Conley released from prison by Judge Bernadette Clark. And it was a pretty big case and really riveting to watch. As Andrew was there in the courtroom, we had it Facebook Live. Yesterday, it was something. Davey, we're looking at $200 this morning for Obika's free money question of the day. $200 on the line. What caller number are you looking for right now?
Caller 8.
8th caller right now at 315-736-0186. 8th caller, your chance to win from Obika and WIBX right now.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
Hey everyone, it's Lisa here from Fit Body Bootcamp. February is Heart Health Month, and we're here to remind you how important it is to take care of your heart. At Fit Body Bootcamp, we know that heart health is key to overall wellness, and we're proud to support Go Red for Women this month. Every workout you do strengthens not just your muscles, but also your heart. Whether it's breaking a sweat in a high-energy session or committing to a healthy lifestyle, small choices make a big impact. Let's come together this month and take care of our hearts. At Fit Body Bootcamp, we want you to live your best life.
The President's Day sales are on at Mattress Express. Save up to $1,350 on names like Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, Purple, and Puffy. Go to mattressexpressny.com for locations.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually, in fact, true. How would you like up to $4,000 of free windows? And when I say $4,000 of free windows, I mean $4,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $4,000 to get $4,000 free. You just get up to $4,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of these restrictions are income-based, and you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
This is Keeler in the morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Coming up in a second, just a second, we're going to speak with the defense attorney for Caitlyn Conley, Melissa K. Schwartz. She was in the courtroom yesterday on the appeal, and boy, it was riveting, I got to say, to watch it. We did the entire proceeding on Facebook Live. So she's coming right up. First, though, let's get out of the way. The Hobeika law firm, Joseph and Andrew Hobeika, give you a chance to win money every day on the radio. And this morning's amount, Davey came up with $200. And ladies and gentlemen, here to compete and play for the big money, $200, is none other than Wayne. Hello, Wayne. Good morning.
Hey guys, when we say Hobeika's name, you know how you do the Rosenthal thing?
Yes.
Joe deserves some thunder, lightning, and some hurricane stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a little explosion for him right there. Stop kissing up, Wayne. The question doesn't get easier when you kiss up. I'm telling you. All right.
I tried.
Here we go. Now, I want to tell you the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. And Daylight Donuts, where the donuts are made fresh every single day. And you know they're currently hiring. It's a great place to work. You can make the hours work for you.
Oh, flexible hours.
Chuck
That's good.
and everybody over there, good people to become a family. And they take really good care of their customers and their employees as well. So reach out to Daylight at 315-724-7103. And by the way, their coffee is just amazing. It's Seattle's best. And you know, Seattle's best and Starbucks, same company. And Seattle's best was so good out in Seattle that Starbucks said, we must have you under our umbrella. And you know the beauty here at Daylight Donuts, the drive-thru is in, out, and you're on your way.
You know what it is? It is fast. Lightning fast.
Just like thunder. Okay, are you ready, Wayne? Here we go. This is for $200. Here's your question. The first Starbucks to open outside North America was in what country? Ready, go.
Switzerland.
Was it Switzerland?
Good guess.
I wouldn't have guessed that. Was it Switzerland?
Well, they're fancy there,
Yeah.
It's a fancy little thing.
Correct answer is Japan.
I was close.
Yeah. It's in
One continent over.
It's on Earth, planet Earth. We're going to give you the all-in-one food and fun card. It's a $25 gift card. Good at all the restaurants, Aquavino, Taylor and the Cook, Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, and inside the Odd and the Adirondack Bank Center and Nexus. So stand by. Davey's going to hook you up. Thank you, Wayne.
Hey, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Bill. My sister, I told you before, my sister was on the jury for that Caitlyn Conley case.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's. I want to talk more about that. I have the attorney on now, but was your sister one who thought she was not guilty?
Yes.
I thought so, because I saw that story yesterday that we had on, and it was pressure, right? There was a lot of pressure there.
There was a lot of slamming of hands and all that stuff. Like aggressive slamming of hands, ripping down blinds and everything else, I guess.
Wow.
But,
Wow. Jury room.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this thing you got going on.
All right.
So
Sounds
you guys
good.
have a good day.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right, Wayne.
Very interesting. On the line right now, she represented Caitlyn Conley in the appeal to the appellate court. And, of course, yesterday in court in Oneida County, it was really something to watch. Melissa K. Schwartz, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. How
Good
about
to
that?
talk to you.
How about that? We just
talk to you.
by chance had the brother of a former juror on the trial when you're coming on the air. That was something.
Yeah, Wayne, tell your sister to call me.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it just goes to show how really invested and ingrained this community is in this case in particular, and how it's kind of consumed the last 8 years.
It also tells you a lot about the jury and what goes on in the jury room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Syracuse area, so the case is known here. Obviously, not as well known as it is in Utica and Oneida, but since I've been involved, people are heavily invested.
Can I ask you, first of all, talk about yesterday's hearing? I felt like in the first 15 seconds, I knew where Judge Clark was going. I don't know what your thoughts were.
The moment she said, "Can you remove Miss Connolly's shackles?" I was pretty confident I knew which way it was going to.
Yeah, and it does make sense. It doesn't it, right? I mean, the appellate court just said that this case everything has been thrown out, and she basically becomes a free woman at this point. How long, we don't know, but to just throw her back in jail doesn't seem overly constitutional.
Yes, and I mean, I mentioned that really Judge Clark or Justice Clark said everything that I was going to say. I meant it. Yeah. She really just took over and really made all of the arguments for me, and she made my job very easy.
At what point did you say to those sitting at the table, "Shh, just let her go"? Sorry.
I always say that to myself.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a big talker.
That's
so
right.
I always have to sit there and be like, don't say too much. Don't say too much. You're winning. Read the room. Yeah.
But I thought you brought up a very good point in addition, because Judge Clark did say, is Caitlyn Conley a flight risk? Please explain to me why she is, if you think she is. But you went even further in the fact that, she came back for all of these proceedings, 2 trials. Obviously there yesterday, probably that she didn't have a choice, but also an exemplary record inside jail and prison.
Yes. When I actually filed a stay application with the appellate division in November to try to get her out before a decision was rendered. They're very highly likely to lose, so we weren't expecting it to be granted. But in that stay application, I did attach letters from people in docs that could attest to her character, and really she has had an exemplary record. I don't think I know any other client of mine that has never had a ticket. I mean, even a tier 1 ticket, you could get a tier 1 ticket for, standing slightly out of line one day. She has no ticket.
Wow.
Getting into this appeal specifically, and I was kind of reading over some of the brief that you sent over, and truthfully, it's like reading another language. I'm not as smart as you, Melissa, but I wanted to, kind of point out three things. The ultimate decision by the appellate court was made based on the contents of the cell phone and her legal counsel, but you had made two other possible arguments as to why this could be considered for appeal. Consulting with a forensic toxicologist who would have expanded the time frame in which the decedent could have been exposed to fatal toxins, and opened the door to an enormously prejudicial prior bad act that painted Conley as a serial poisoner and allowed the people to seek lesser and included manslaughter charge of which she was convicted. The first argument was one that was successful, but talk a little bit about the other two.
So just in terms of why I don't think those were decided, they can be corrected now, right? The other two issues could be corrected.
Right.
They're really just,
Gotcha.
and I hired a toxicologist. I had the toxicologist testify at the hearing, and so that issue was done. The issue with the toxicologist is that Jean Marafa testified that the onset of symptoms time frame would be somewhere between 2 to 8 hours. And my toxicologist, who's actually written a leading article on colchicine poisoning and actually treats colchicine poisoning emergencies in his career, he's an actual doctor. He testified that that time frame is actually 30 minutes to 16 hours. And that was important to the people's case because they really wanted to limit it to that very narrow time frame, so only Katie was the person that could have administered it. The other point was that in his opening statement, Frank Policelli opened the door to this, prior attempted poisoning of Adam Yoder. I actually couldn't think of a more prejudicial door opening in terms of what you don't want a jury to hear about your client.
Right.
You definitely don't want them to hear that the people think she had previously done this with the exact same poisoning to somebody related to the case. And I just don't think the people never brought a Molyneux application on that, which would be an application to use it in their case in chief. And that's because, I don't want to speak for them, but I suspect that they didn't think that they were going to be able to get it past the Molyneux analysis. And so when the door was open to it, it kind of let them go into it fair game. I don't actually think it's true. I think a lot of the facts surrounding that prior poisoning don't really meet the threshold that actually happened. I think it's Adam Yoder kind of in hindsight saying, hey, this happened to me, but I don't actually think it did, just given some of the circumstances.
Right.
But that was the third point that we brought on appeal.
If I remember correctly, it was he thought he was sick, and he said, well, the symptoms are very similar. I think that's what happened to me. That was the evidence, wasn't it?
Yes. But the symptoms are very similar to just a normal GI bug. Norovirus is going on right now. I don't think anybody's saying they...
I get so angry when someone comes back and they're like, I had food poisoning at such and such a place. I'm like, well, how do you know you had food poisoning? If you have food poisoning, you're going to know it.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of people, just in terms of coincidence, you end up getting sick and you blame it on the restaurant and you tell everybody.
Yeah.
That I hate, and this is very similar to that when you think about it, or could be.
Yes, very, very similar, but also, extremely damning. The jury asked to hear about that. When they requested jury notes, they asked to hear about Adam's prior poisoning, so they clearly considered it very prejudicial.
Well, it was very possible. Wasn't there evidence or maybe information that showed that Adam may have possibly exposed himself to this? Wasn't there a question of that he was the one that possibly ordered it from the chiropractic office and he had it in his Jeep? Or I'm blurry on the details, but it's very possible that he may have inadvertently exposed himself to the colchicine.
So I think that was Frank Policelli's defense, is that Adam had it in his hands. I personally just wouldn't risk that defense. I just wouldn't have, and I thought it was so prejudicial that was a misstep.
I think a big part of this was the access that Adam had to her electronics.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in the case in and of itself, right? I think that's why it's so controversial. I think that's why so many people are invested.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of serious things that are going on in the case. So I think that's what keeps people interested in
Tell me, what are your thoughts on, and obviously there's some things you probably don't want to or won't answer, but what the fact that they were given immunity right off the bat, the son and the father. Did I lose her?
Yeah, no, I'm on here. I'm trying to think of how I want to answer. I will decline to answer that.
Well, you're so good. I never allow that silence to occur and always say the wrong thing. So congratulations.
She did preface
brilliant.
with she's got to tell herself sometimes. Just
so you tell. I mean, obviously you answer the way you see fit.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the DA's office has made comments about it. I know people on the other side of this think it's outrageous. Yeah, I'm not going to give my comment on that.
Okay. I did want to ask you, we had heard from people that were somewhat on the inside or close to Caitlyn that she played a role in coming up with this loophole. Is there any truth to that? And how did she contribute to the appeal?
So that's absolutely true, and it's a matter of court record. So when Chris Pelly actually got retained to do her direct appeal after her second conviction, so he wrote a brief on her behalf, and she was allowed to submit a pro se supplemental brief, so a brief that she submits on her own. Mm-hmm. She put this issue in her pro se brief.
Wow! In the first appeal attempt, right? Because it was denied at first, right?
Her appeal was denied on direct appeal, so she didn't put the ineffective assistance of counsel issue. She put the search warrant issue in her pro se brief. So yes, absolutely, Katie Conley identified this issue.
And at one point, I believe, right up until now her end of her stay down in Westchester County at the prison there was a part of the library, was the librarian or
the
an
law
assistant
library
at the law library there.
Yes, so the entire time she's been there, she's been in the law library, not only helping herself, but helping other women just even respond to letters, understand their case. She's been really helpful to other women inside Bedford Hills.
And I don't know how much you want to comment on this, but at the end of the day, based on the other 2 points of defense for Conley, and of course what the judge has ruled on, what the appellate court already ruled on, there's going to be a lot of evidence that will not be admissible if there is a next trial. I'm trying to figure out how to ask you this, but this will be a very different trial, I guess is what I'm saying, if it happens.
If it happens, yes, I believe it'll be a very different trial.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things we talked about earlier, and we wanted to get your clarification on it, was, it seems that the appellate court's decision was based on a lot of stuff that happened in the first trial that resulted in a hung jury. But that appellate court decision led to the overturning of the conviction that came about from the second trial. Can you explain the reasoning behind that?
So I'm going to disagree with your analysis of that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're the legal mind, not me.
The issue that we ended up prevailing on was something that happened during pre-trial before the first trial, right? So every defendant that gets charged after grand jury, or not grand jury, but accusatories, has the right to file motions to suppress, motions to dismiss, all of the very, very mundane issues that we litigate every day as criminal defense attorneys. Chris Pelly did not bring the issue that we prevailed on, which was that her cell phone warrant lacked particularity and that they didn't get a separate cell phone warrant for it. That failure ended up allowing evidence to be used against her at her second trial. I mean, additionally, Frank Policelli didn't bring that motion either. He's in a much tougher spot, right? Because he just got the retrial. He technically could have, but it's usually law of the case. So he didn't bring the motion either, but that's what it was, the pretrial hearing, but definitely ripe for review. Yeah. Definitely ripe for review. And the appellate division, despite the fact that that issue became moot, they decided to decide it, which tells me that they agreed with it.
Very interesting. I've been told, and I've actually been a part of an appellate case. It is not easy to win at the appellate level, and this is a huge win, and congratulations on that. And then I wonder if there is a trial, will you be the defense attorney?
So right now I'm continuing to represent Katie during this kind of, gray area. It's my usual practice to not stay on as lead counsel. I'll sometimes take a smaller role.
Okay.
Just because in the event if a client gets convicted again, it would allow me to do. I don't believe in handling trials and then doing the appeal from the trial unless I just play kind of a legal role in it because I would like somebody be able to critique me.
Yes.
But they're just trying to enjoy their time, together right now. They've had a lot of solicitations. And so we really haven't made any decisions, but I currently represent her.
Now, I know how the process worked. She had to go back to Bedford Hills. Has she been released to her family, and is she with her family now at this time?
She will be released today.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Well, very interesting. It was really something to watch. Melissa Schwartz, we really appreciate your time. And my expectation is there will be another Dateline special coming up soon. So
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see if Andrea Canning reaches out or not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate
Have a good day.
it. You too.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Right. Wow.
Sharp attorney.
Very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. And we'll see what comes next out of all of this. Coming up, Ryan Noble's next hour. Also, Tom Wires is a private eye on the first case, in the first trial. We'll get to that coming up.
From the Stanley Theater Studios, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
It's wrong and absurd. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's one reaction from Turkey to President Trump's controversial new plan for Gaza, where a ceasefire still holds with Hamas, which calls the idea a recipe for chaos.
Gaza is a hellhole right now. It was before the bombing started, frankly. And we're going to give people a chance to live in a beautiful community that's safe and secure.
The president wants the U.S. to take over and own Gaza, demolishing all the war destruction to develop it into like a Riviera for the Middle East. As for the Palestinians displaced,
Gaza's been very unlucky for them.
He wants Palestinian refugees to go to Jordan, Egypt, or other countries. Now, the president proposed it in talks with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
You are the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House.
Now, other world leaders oppose the plan, still calling for a Palestinian state. Now, the Trump shakeup continues at the U.S. Agency for International Development after Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency moved to shut down USAID, calling it beyond repair. The State Department's in control now, and as Republicans call for big reforms with the agency, Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reads an email that went out last night.
On Friday, February 7th, just before the stroke of midnight, all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission-critical functions.
After the U.S. put new tariffs on Chinese imports this week, the Postal Service is no longer accepting packages shipped from China and Hong Kong. The manhunt continues near Columbus, Ohio, for a killer who went on a shooting spree at his warehouse workplace late last night. The New Albany's Mayor Sloan Spalding just said,
"We want to reassure our residents that we have multiple agencies working right now to apprehend the suspect."
One person was killed at the cosmetics plant, 5 others hospitalized. The U.S. is getting a new attorney general today after this Senate vote last night.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 46. The nomination is confirmed.
One Senate Democrat, John Fetterman, joined Republicans confirming Pam Bondi. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
We mentioned the Senate confirming Pam Bondi to be Attorney General. That came hours after Doug Collins was approved as Veterans Affairs Secretary, and 2 more controversial Trump cabinet picks advanced out of committee without any Democratic support.
Health and Human Services nominee RFK Jr. got out of the Senate Finance Committee, with Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy's vote for him after extracting some promises.
Aside from he and I meeting regularly, he will come before the Help Committee on a quarterly basis if requested. He committed that the Help Committee chair, whether it's me or someone else, may choose a representative on any board or commission formed to review vaccine safety.
Director of National Intelligence nominee Tulsi Gabbard was voted out of the Senate Intel Committee. The Senate Judiciary Committee will vote on Kash Patel's nomination for FBI Director Thursday morning. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
President Trump plans another controversial transgender executive order today that aims to prevent athletes who are born male from competing in girls' or women's sports. They have found all the bodies now in the Potomac River, and crews have removed more of the wreckage of the plane that just before landing at Reagan National Airport last week collided in midair with a military helicopter.
The National Transportation Safety Board says the Army Black Hawk helicopter was flying too high when it crashed into an American Airlines jet near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport last week, killing everyone on board both aircraft. And that data from air traffic control radar showed the military chopper was flying at 300 feet on the air traffic control display. That's 100 feet above the maximum altitude for helicopters in the area. Data is rounded to the nearest 100 feet, so officials will need additional information to verify data points from the Black Hawk, which is slated to be recovered from the Potomac this week. Officials say all 67 victims in the collision have now been recovered. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are falling before today's trading. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time 8:05. I'm Andrew Derminio. Well, we're up a degree from last report. It's 2 under mostly clear skies.
Oh, I can feel the difference. I really can. It's twice as warm as it was just a little while ago.
Double the temperature.
Yeah, wow. Feels so much better now.
Yeah, we'll give you the full forecast in minutes. A state Supreme Court judge has ruled Caitlyn Conley is free following an appellate court decision to overturn her manslaughter conviction in connection with the death of a local chiropractor. Conley was convicted in 2017 for the poisoning death of Dr. Mary Yoder. On Tuesday, Judge Bernadette Clark, despite Oneida County DA Todd Carville's objection, ruled Caitlyn was free to be released. The DA's office does have the right and option to try her for a third time, but that decision has not yet been made. The death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility has now been ruled a homicide. According to the Times-Union in Albany, a grand jury is going to be reviewing evidence on this case February 10th. Body camera footage showed Brooks being brutally attacked by several prison employees back in December. He was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment but could not be saved. Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick was named special prosecutor after the Attorney General's office recused itself. Plans to repair a B-52 bomber damaged by a tornado in Rome last summer are being released today. The aircraft has been located at Griffiths Park since the 1990s, and it was knocked over by severe wind gusts this past July. Local veterans groups are working to raise the necessary funds for these repairs. The tornado caused devastation throughout the city, and recovery efforts may take years to complete. There's some sad news to report about the 17-year-old girl seriously injured following a crash in Pompeii. Fabius Pompeii School District officials said yesterday Gia Myers has passed away. Myers was driving her 15-year-old brother Gavin to school last Thursday when she lost control of the vehicle on a snow-covered road and slammed into another car. Gavin Myers died at the scene, and the district says its thoughts and prayers are with the Myers family. And Heinz is teaming up with the Grammy-winning producer DJ Mustard to create a special edition sauce. Mustard, who is behind hits like Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, has been appointed the condiment company's chief mustard officer. The collaboration was announced in a commercial during the Grammys on Sunday night. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time, 8:08. Here's your forecast.
Winter weather advisory in effect for Thursday morning, 4 a.m. until Thursday afternoon, 4 p.m. as mixed precipitation around. Going to be kind of messy. More snow, obviously, in the North Country. Lots of sun today, but only 20 after a frigid start to the day. Snow come in towards sunrise tomorrow, mixed with some sleet and freezing rain, maybe a little rain in the afternoon. But again, a couple of inches of slushy snow and ice accumulating. But we get about freezing later, upper 30s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, now we're at 2 degrees under clear skies. It is 8:09. In sports, the Eagles have not forgotten about Super Bowl 57. The team is gearing up for a rematch against the Chiefs in New Orleans Sunday night. The sides clashed in Glendale 2 years ago, where Kansas City came away with a 3-point win. However, Philly has a not-so-secret weapon this time around in Saquon Barkley, who has rushed for more than 100 yards in 9 of his last 10 games. He's making his first appearance in the big game along with Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, and Kenyon Mitchell. The Eagles are not only trying to get revenge against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, but are also attempting to stop the league's first-ever three-peat champion. The Chiefs will have their future head coach, returning to the sidelines next season. Kansas City head coach Andy Reid said Tuesday he will return for at least one more season following the team's appearance in Super Bowl 59, including playoffs. Reid has amassed 301 career wins and 3 Super Bowl championships. The 66-year-old coached the Philadelphia Eagles for 14 seasons before joining the Chiefs in 2013. He has a chance to tie Chuck Noll for second place all-time among head coaches with 4 Super Bowl wins if the Chiefs are able to beat the Eagles on Sunday. The Yankees are bringing a key member of their bullpen back for another season. According to ESPN, left-hander Tim Hill and the Bronx Bombers have agreed to a one-year, $2.85 million contract with a club option for 2026 worth $3 million with a $350,000 buyout. And the Syracuse men's basketball team has a showdown with one of the top teams in college basketball tonight. The Orange are hosting National Player of the Year candidate Cooper Flagg and his number 2 ranked Duke Blue Devils at the JMA Wireless Dome. SU has not played since Saturday when they beat California on the road by a final score of 75-66. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m., and the contest airs nationally on ESPN2. It is 8:10.
I really felt that the very interesting Jeremy Rosenthal this morning, and then Melissa Schwartz, the attorney for Caitlyn Conley, really good. Yeah. Coming up, Tom Wires is a private investigator, and was in the first Conley case. We'll speak with him coming up as well to get his take on all of what's going down. Ryan Nobles later on in the hour coming up. Start the year debt-free and stress-free with GPO Federal Credit Union. Simplify your finances with balanced transfer rates as low as 3.99% APR for 12 months, or consolidate high-interest debt into one manageable payment with personal loans from GPO. And they don't stop there. GPO has partnered with a program called Balance to provide you with free virtual or in-person sessions with financial advisors. Together, they will help you create a personalized plan which will assist you in taking control of your finances and achieve those goals that you know you need to achieve in 2025. Why wait? Let GPO help you start fresh in 2025. Online, gpofcu.com, or stop by any branch today. Subject to credit approval, membership eligibility required, rates and terms based on credit worthiness. Balance transfer rates revert back to normal card rate after the 12th month. Contact GPO for more information. Before I break, Joe Lode on the line. Joe Lode on the road. Joe Lode, good morning.
On the road, good morning at -6 currently in Remsen, New York. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Chilly.
-6. Yeah, it's very cold today. I don't know why, but it's cold. Oh, I guess it's winter, so
it is,
we'll put up with it.
Here we are.
Hey, real quick, nobody's talking about it, but it flashed on the news this morning when I was getting up having my morning coffee. They show a picture of every single 67 victims in that horrific crash between the Black Hawk and the airline company, that big one. 67 victims, all recovered. All have pictures except for one victim that is blacked out with the name Yin Han. Now, I don't know if Yin Han is a male, female, helicopter victim, or a pilot or a plane victim, but it just seems weird to me that every single 67 has a photo except for this mysterious person.
I don't know. However, I also that came out of this in D.C. is that the Blackhawks are oftentimes used to shuttle special guests back and forth from the military airport, if you will, to the White House. So
it could be something top secret, possibly.
I don't know. I thought that was really interesting with no picture, too. However, it might be just something as simple as they don't have any photo on this person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, real quick question for you. With, Bill, the technology that we have in automobiles, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll get too close to a telephone pole or to a curb, and that sensor's going off like crazy. Drives you nuts. But in a Black Hawk helicopter or a modern airplane, we don't have any kind of parking alert sensors or flying alert sensors. Are you kidding me?
I believe in the sky it was a white dotted line, and therefore it didn't read.
It was all right to pass?
Well, had it been double yellow, that's a good listen. It's a very good point because I know that my vehicle, if I don't use my signal light, if I'm like, let's say I'm driving up, there's somebody that's pulled over in the middle of the lane, and I got to go around them. If I don't use my signal light, as I try to gently turn left to go around them, my steering wheel kicks me right back into the lane. How does this not happen with the airplane and the helicopter when you think about it?
Well, I mean, military-grade Black Hawk, best of the best.
Yeah.
Can't tell you if something's close that's going to hit you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand how this.
Mind-boggling.
And you have, and the worst communication between the air traffic control and the actual plane and helicopter. You can't even understand them.
No,
so
mumble jargon. So it's weird.
Yeah, this is the best we can do. And here's another thing that I think that is interesting. You're coming into that airport at Reagan, and you have flights coming in from all over the world, pilots who don't necessarily speak English that's overly understandable. Again, do we not have a better system at this point in 2025? Apparently not.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
You would think, anyway. But
I'll
that's just my take on it. That's all.
I got to tell you right now, I have a better system, I think, in my CX-90 right now.
You probably do.
I probably do. All right. Thank you, Joe. All right.
Have a great day, guys.
You do the same. You do wonder, right? You do kind of wonder.
Yeah.
You do
it's
kind of wonder.
An interesting concept.
You ever get that? Are you subscribed to the post office's
Informed delivery?
Informed delivery.
Yes, I am.
Where you get a picture of your mail.
Yeah, you know what I have not gotten is my pistol permit. Damn it, it's been since August.
You're going to need it for when everything goes to hell.
Well, it's annoying.
It's coming.
That's what it is.
Sometimes I avoid it because I just get sick of being let down. You know, you're waiting for your government, your IRS refund. You're waiting for, and you look there, and all you got is a bunch of junk mail. So I haven't looked at mine today. I'm waiting for something really big. It's my wife's Valentine's Day gift.
You had it sent to the mail?
Yes.
Are you out of your mind? She's going to see it.
It is an enormous photo, and she's been looking for this, of me. I'm not sure it's going to fit in the mailbox, but this is going to be a beauty.
Oh.
She is going to be so happy. Can't wait.
I hope you have something else planned.
And some chocolates that I like. We've got two. It's going to be a wonderful Valentine's Day. Hold on tight. Coming up, we'll speak with Tom Wires, PI in the Conley case, trial number 1, and Ryan Nobles from NBC coming up as well here in the 8 o'clock hour.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast, so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
Hey everyone, it's Lisa here from Fit Body Bootcamp. February is Heart Health Month, and we're here to remind you how important it is to take care of your heart. At Fit Body Bootcamp, we know that heart health is key to overall wellness, and we're proud to support Go Red for Women this month. Every workout you do strengthens not just your muscles, but also your heart. Whether it's breaking a sweat in a high-energy session or committing to a healthy lifestyle, small choices make a big impact. Let's come together this month and take care of our hearts. At Fit Body Bootcamp, we want you to live your best life.
Uncertainty, the unknown. These can be some of the greatest fears people face. There is a chance for a life of greater certainty that the Rome Rescue Mission provides. We call it a hand up, not a handout. The Rome Rescue Mission provides the basic necessities and the skills needed to start a new life. It starts simply with someone to talk to. Knowing that someone cares, the Rome Rescue Mission strives to meet basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing, but more importantly, provides emotional and spiritual support. The Rome Rescue Mission helps people start a new and promising life. Being in need is not a choice. Helping is. An unlimited future starts at the Rome Rescue Mission through your generous support. Make a difference and donate now. RomeMission.org. That's RomeMission.org. Rome Rescue Mission. A hand up, not a handout.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Want selection on your next mattress? At Mattress Express, we have Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh, and Lavish, and more. No one else in New York State has all these brands under one roof, open 7 days a week.
Hey, Central New York, this is Will Kane of The Will Kane Show, and you can now hear my show every weekday at WIBX. I do things a little differently when I'm behind the microphone because I turn it over to the listeners to learn and really dig into the issues that impact everyday Americans. The Will Kane Show lets you keep ahead of the headlines and understand what's really going on in the world with in-depth discussions from leading experts and the brightest minds. From politics to sports, nothing is off topic. Listen to The Will Kane Show weekdays at 6, only on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Playing this song because we have a private investigator.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, in studio right now, he was a private eye and was the inspiration for the Hall & Oates song, as a matter of fact.
Tom specifically was. Yes.
Graduate of Mohawk High School, Tom Wires. Good morning.
Morning.
I say the Mohawk thing because you and I are. You were a grade ahead of me, I believe.
81.
Yeah, 82.
And we did that mega reunion. Did you go to that?
When was that?
Last August.
They don't invite me.
He didn't get the invite.
Okay, sorry.
I've done all the 1982 reunions, but I didn't see this one.
Okay.
Till it was too late.
Sorry, didn't send it out in the mail for you.
I got lost.
I think my wife is like, you guys are having another reunion? Most schools and classes are like they never get together.
Right.
Not at Mohawk.
They are the reunions are a thing of the past. I think the age of social media did that. We did a 10-year for my high school, and not a lot of people showed.
You will find 10 years.
Well, it's good and bad because you can reach out to these people now.
Yeah,
for
that
the
is.
reunion.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people say,
Exactly.
I don't want to go because.
Or you could hire a private investigator. He'll find all of them.
Get me their mailing address.
So, but we do our 1982 reunion, and it's pretty well attended.
Right.
But as you get,
Well, you had a bigger class. We only had 72.
We were 100 in 7th grade. We were 155 kids at Mohawk.
Yeah, our
That
class
pretty
was
big.
72 the year.
They had 35. By the time we graduated, there were 35 of us. That was it.
Wow.
155 to 35.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not true. But it was still the largest, I think the largest class ever at Mohawk High School. So, which no longer
But you weren't
exists.
invited to the mega, though.
And then they didn't invite me. Well, there were so many kids to invite. I mean, it was easy to
he was on that list.
You know why?
Yeah,
Because,
somewhere.
can I just bring this up too? And I don't want to offend anybody. If you do this, please do not be offended by this. However, I just want you to know, if you're having a wedding and you invite me via Facebook, I am not coming.
Okay.
Because I'll never see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook enough.
I mean, a wedding's a thing you have
got to
to
send, and
you send an
especially if
invitation.
you're expecting a check. Invest in the invest
Well,
in
what
the
we tried
the
to do
stamps.
was we tried to find the people who were ahead of each class with the reunions, and then say, hey, reach out through email. Or
Were you
whatever.
a part of the organization?
Yes,
in this?
I was on the committee.
And you left me out.
And I said, make sure Bill's not going to be
All right. I knew that. I knew it.
Truth comes out.
Well, in our class,
All right, Tom Lerner,
it's
good talking to you.
It's Lori at Doggy Styles in Mohawk. She has a dog grooming service. Lori Shell. I can't remember her married name now, but anyway, Lori does a tremendous job. And
was it Johansson?
Maybe, yeah, I think so. So you're so much better at this than I am.
Sometimes.
Did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good food.
All right, let's talk about Caitlyn Conley.
All right, don't rub it in, Tom.
You were on the first trial.
Yes.
And your job was what? Explain what you did.
Well, I did. He just gave me a couple boxes of files, and I just said, "Go ahead."
Pelley.
Yes, Chris Pelley.
Yeah.
He said, "Go ahead and look through it." And my focus was more with the husband. You know, when I was finding, that he was down living with his, the
With his
victim's
sister.
yeah,
Mary's sister. Yeah.
I do think some of that, in fairness, I do think that happens often, where somebody, I see these cases, somebody dies, and then all of a sudden,
the tragedy brings them together.
It's
almost.
the tragedy that brings them
yeah,
together.
I agree.
I do
It
think
could be
that happens.
bad timing, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very hard. It's tedious work because you get let's say there's 150 manila envelope folders in your box,
right?
And then each one has a different. They do give you a list of what each folder is, but you have to go through it, and one would be like somebody's statement. Then you got to go back and find that police officer who took the statement and read his report, and it's in another folder.
Right.
So
there's a lot of
so you can miss
paperwork.
out. Sometimes after a case, you say to yourself, "Oh, what did I miss something?"
Right, right.
So
do you feel like in this case, did you miss something?
Well, I could have.
Yeah. Well, there was a hung jury at the end of the.
So
in your process,
can I ask one more question? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
yeah, go
When you
ahead.
mentioned you were following the father and the in the middle of that, when you found out they had gotten immunity, were you like, all this work I'm putting into this, and now they're
No, it just you go out and you find the reasonable doubt.
because it could still set her free.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Andrew, sorry.
So is the majority? You said that you're going through these files that Attorney Pelley provided to you. Is the majority of your work in investigating that and on the scene, out in the field investigation, or was the majority of it?
Both. I always try to go to the scene of the crime if I can. If I'm allowed to, that's first thing I like to do. Problem with me is a lot of cases I get are a year old, 2 years, 5 years old, and then a lot of stuff is tainted. Like this case now, if they
go for another trial.
Because let's face it, Caitlyn was convicted on circumstantial evidence, and they're going to go to grand jury with less
less evidence. That's an excellent point.
Wouldn't make sense, but.
And now you have to find a jury that doesn't. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because there are even like the attorney Melissa Schwartz, who is Conley's current attorney. Like she had said, even in Syracuse, people know the case, and not quite as well as we know it here, but they know the case.
Well, each case is different. So Chris Pelley is the type of attorney that when he hires me, he says, read everything and let me know what you see.
Yeah.
Where some lawyers will go, they'll give you just certain information, and of a theory, and they go look into this theory, and that's it. So then you try to figure it out.
Listen, you were also a policeman.
Yes.
So you were in law enforcement before. And I do think that when you're a police officer and you come upon a crime, you form your own, you're like the judge and jury, not necessarily legally, but you are. You're going to form conclusions. You're going to, when somebody tells you, no, I didn't do this, you kind of have a feeling if you know, you got a hunch. And I would imagine it's easy to form a conclusion. I think prosecutors are the same way.
Yeah.
You get in and you figure out, I know who did it, and this is where we're going.
It's called tunnel vision. So I've overturned a conviction where the police just focused on this one person, and this other person came into the picture, and they just regarded it. And I took that avenue and then found out it was the person that did it.
It was.
So
do you think, and does it even matter anymore, do you think she was innocent?
I do. I believe that.
You do?
Yeah.
You do.
Let's face it, the only way you're going to solve this crime is somebody's going to have to confess.
Right.
Right.
And that's probably not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And now you have two people who are involved who both have immunity.
But what I noticed recently, because I'm retired now, but in the later years, because I started as military police in the 80s, like the Barney Miller scenario where non-electric typewriter and rotary phone. Then now you're into laptops and phones. But what I've noticed in cases that I worked on near the end was the police focus. If it's your phone, it's your phone. That's it. Whatever's on it, you did it.
Well, that's an interesting because the boyfriend had a lot of access to her phone.
Right.
And
I interviewed a relative of his. He was living with a relative, and he had IP addresses of his mother's, father's, laptop, Caitlyn's, all these IP addresses. And the relative told me that when he was going to college, he had a program on his iPad where he can go on the home computer of parents and, print copies and look at documents and stuff like that. Now, I was told if you go onto that computer off your iPad that if you go on the web on that home computer through the iPad, that the IPS address is going to show on the home computer.
Okay.
Not your
so
iPad. There
wouldn't be any identifying linkage from the iPad usage to that computer.
Right. Because I had an iPad where I didn't do it. A computer guy did it for me, where I can go on the screen and see my home computer screen. And I can look at files and,
Yeah, there's a lot of technologies. I mean, we use it here at the station to do various things. Go into the system from home or whatever. I just find it shocking that there wouldn't be some tracking mechanism that says this device accessed the IP address at this day and time.
Maybe if you talk to somebody, a computer guy, maybe he can tell you that, but that's what I was told.
To be fair, I've talked to other people who were on the case who believe 100% that they had it right. They had it right. That she did it and they had it right. So there are those that feel that. I will tell you, my wife and I were watching this murder mystery type thing, and she said it's amazing how they were able to hide the body. I mean, wouldn't it begin as it decays? And I said, well, no, they use lime. And because I remember this case in Little Falls years ago where they ultimately found the body and it was under the porch and it was covered in lime, if you remember that.
It was like
case.
a welfare thing, right? Or they were
I just want to say in the end here, I feel sorry for Chris Pelly for taking the blame, because when I heard it inadequate counsel, I said, God, he hired me, he hired a computer phone guy, he hired an medical examiner, and he did do the case on his own, which is tough to do because you got documents, you got to do hearings, pre-trial stuff.
Look at the OJ trial. Look at how many attorneys they had.
Well, and he got the result
attorneys,
of a hung jury.
My point
that's another case.
And yes, my point on the lime was, I said I'm pretty sure that's how they hide it. And I went to go to my phone, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking up to see how it works. How does?" And she said, "Stop!
Don't do it."
Because you never know when you fall into something crazy.
Yeah, it'll be on your computer or phone.
And I typed in, how do you dispose of a body and prevent odor? And
hey, we better call somebody.
Yeah, right. So I stopped, by the way. I didn't. I got right to the point where the letter L was there, and I didn't get to lime. So
well, in the end, it's just weird
You're
how this
bothered
came.
that he's being he's the
No,
scapegoat here.
what's upsetting is not upsetting, but the appellate court said the police, law enforcement violated a court order because the judge said, bring the phone to me, which
Yeah.
they didn't. And then the stuff on the phone was used in the second trial. So it was never used in the first trial. So
Well, there's a reason for that, though, that once it was there, and even the attorney...
She said today it was
Melissa said-
pre-trial, a pre-trial mistake.
And even the attorney said that it really wasn't Frank Policelli's fault because that evidence was there and it was there to be used. So no one would have known. It's almost like one of those things that happened in pre-trial, and by the time I got to trial 2, it was just there. Nobody knew. And I find that interesting. But here's the other part of this is, to be fair, is the prosecution should have gotten the second warrant.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
And that would have, to be able to go through the phone, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I've served subpoenas for lawyers where they go to the judge and they ask for mainly medical records. And I've served the subpoenas on the office, the medical office, and they would call that lawyer and say, can you have somebody, because it's in the subpoena, it says bring it right to court, So the doctor will say, can you have somebody pick it up? We got the records ready.
Yeah.
I take it right to court. Now, if I went home and made copies, you think I, get in a little trouble?
Right. Right.
So, I mean, it was the same scenario with the search
Sure.
warrant, my opinion,
Yeah. What do you want people to know with this?
Well, I hope it ends.
Yeah.
Been a long
Like
time.
she's been in jail for, I think, the general people I've talked to, a lot of people you see on Facebook, everybody seems to be of the same sentiment that, listen, circumstantial evidence, no one can say beyond an absolute doubt. You can't say that in this case.
I say moveon.org.
Yeah, moveon.org.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like she's done 8 years, almost 8 years.
And the thing is one thing Frank Policelli talks about a lot is he's had defendants that have had a similar conviction that are, in his words, maybe repeat offenders or quote-unquote hardened criminals that are getting lighter sentences for the same charge. I mean, 23 years for a manslaughter conviction seems excessive.
Yes. I mean, you can...
Especially by today's standards.
Yeah,
definitely.
and for somebody who had no prior record.
And that becomes a whole new issue that has to be considered. If you go back 8 years, 9 years, when this was all being investigated and tried, we didn't have bail reform. We didn't have all these things.
Well, that's one of the reasons I retired. Not only, I did 42 years of the same line of work, but the no bail, I had problems with on my end because the clients won't call you back.
Right.
And, I've worked a lot of...
Wait a minute. Wait. You mean they don't participate? I can't imagine. Right.
I mean, I worked a lot of signed counsel cases,
Mm-hmm.
so like in Syracuse and Thompson County and Cortland County. And probably, I'm going to say 50% of the time I can't reach out to the clients. They won't, I tell the lawyers, I'm not going to work on this.
Yeah, right. You're going nowhere. They're not going to. They're not going to.
You're working
cooperate.
on one case I was working on, and the person made another, got arrested again.
Yeah.
So I go, where am I going with this?
By the way, did you ever get into any insurance stuff where the insurance company would hire you? Yours was more
in the
criminal.
beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because I call it stalking.
It is kind of stalking.
Yeah.
This is why I'm telling you, if you're
an honest private investigator, I like that.
If you're on disability and you're out painting your house, my assumption is you shouldn't be painting your house because there's a very good chance that somebody's taking video.
I have to
of you.
say, I won't say the name, but he was a classmate. I think he was a year ahead of me. And this is when I first started the PI work, and the insurance company goes, you need to follow this guy. And I knew him, and I knew he had problems, and that he wasn't working. I just knew it.
Yeah.
I told him, take my word, he's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
I could have took the money, right?
You could have taken the money.
Run,
could have. Sometimes you just know, right?
Right.
Oh, it's Bob. Yeah, well, I can tell you.
he's
no
working.
need to put any time into this. I think you've got Bob red-handed. So, all right. So no work now. You're not doing anything.
No, I was served, eviction notices for the lawyers and stuff like that. But You know,
Okay.
a couple of times a month. But.
Good stuff, Tom.
Feels good, though, to be out.
Good seeing you, and thank you for
Barbara Caitlyn, too, right?
That's right.
She'll be out today.
Today she gets out. That's what we
I
learned.
had an overturned conviction where the lawyer gave me the release form. He had me drive out to Attica to get the guy out of the prison. So.
Wow.
But it takes like 4 or 5 hours for them
to process.
Yeah.
How do you think of in my mind? I was like, well, they're just going to take off the shackles.
Go home
and
with mom and dad.
Away she goes.
Yeah.
But
I was really proud of that because the family was waiting there, and
I'll
they
bet.
were like all crying, and
Yeah.
I was getting choked up too.
I'll bet. Yeah.
I go, there's something in my eye. I don't know.
Yeah. So you do get emotionally invested.
Well, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
It was a surreal moment to hear Judge Clark say, Ms. Conley, you are free. And to see the embrace, it was
I commend
a surreal moment.
her lawyer, Caitlyn, and the judge. They seem to be-
Caitlyn, did you hear what her lawyer said? Her lawyer said she found it.
Yeah.
She found the technicality.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Okay, Tom, nice job.
Yes,
You.
thank you.
And thank
Good to see you.
for the invite to the Mega Reunion.
Yeah.
I do appreciate
Don't let it be forgotten again.
Well, you can come to my man cave. We have therapy Thursdays.
All right, we might need that. Bring vodka.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Tom
Right.
Wires. We'll break. Ryan Nobles from NBC coming up next.
The Ride for Missing Children Mohawk Valley is June 6th. Registration is open now for riders and volunteers at www.rfmc-mv.org. Join the mission to raise awareness about missing children and child exploitation. Riders, sign up and start training today. Volunteers, we need your support to make this event a success. Together, we can provide vital resources like missing children's posters and search campaigns while building a network of hope and support for families. Be a part of something powerful. Register now at www.rfmc-mv.org.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually, in fact, true. How would you like up to $4,000 of free windows? And when I say $4,000 of free windows, I mean $4,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $4,000 to get $4,000 free. You just get up to $4,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of these restrictions are income-based, and you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
I went in for a regular prostate screening, and my lab results showed my PSA level were elevated.
We repeated the lab test, and the second test came back elevated too. We did a biopsy, and the biopsy showed cancer in certain areas of Philip's prostate.
Dr. Ba performed a prostatectomy at Wayne Hospital using robotic surgery to remove the cancer.
We were able to cure him with smaller incisions, and he had a quick recovery.
Since the surgery, all my PSA level has been normal. I am proof that early detection can prevent something far worse.
I had been lifting something heavy, felt a tinge in my back. I also had some shortness of breath, but thought it was due to what I figured was some kind of muscle pull. I was wrong.
The episodes of pain that Ray was experiencing were actually small heart attacks. The Wynn Emergency Department was able to provide immediate life-saving care to Ray's heart.
If it wasn't for the amazing team at Wynn, I might not be here at all. I feel indebted to everyone who helped make Wynn Hospital a reality so I can get the immediate care I needed right when I needed it.
Thank you for giving my daddy back home.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is actual footage of Bill Keeler doing a radio show on WIBX. Sadly, his career was found in a heavily wooded area. If you know the person or persons who ended the radio career of Bill Keeler, please tell them thanks on behalf of the people of Central New York.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Portions of the program brought to you by the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills, accepting new patients right now. If you're in need of a new doctor, a new family doctor, you're having a specialty issue, you need a specialist of some sort to look into whatever might ail you, and maybe it's even an addiction, or something as simple as an osteopathic adjustment, which is what I had yesterday, and I feel so much better after going to Dr. Zielinski yesterday. Dr. Shemileski, Dr. Zielinski, all under one roof along with others. There's acupuncture, counseling, all of these services available under one roof at the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Call 315-507-4751 to make an appointment. Here is Ryan Nobles. Good morning, Ryan.
Bill, good morning. How are you?
Good. I saw you, this weekend on Meet the Press. And there's just so much to talk about, right?
It is frankly overwhelming.
It is.
Bill.
Right now.
It was interesting this morning. I did a Today Show piece on Elon Musk's kind of overreaching impact on this incoming Trump administration. And as we're putting the story together overnight, I woke up this morning and the Today Show team was like, oh, we need to add in this news that overnight the Trump administration has halted all packages under a certain weight coming in from China. And the show was already packed with a million other things that ended up being the tag to my piece. We spent about 15 seconds on it. And the executive producer of the show got in my ear and he said, on a normal day, this would have been our lead. We're talking about billions of dollars in commerce coming from China. I'm sure a lot of your listeners use this Shein and Temu, which is kind of like an Amazon e-commerce thing
love
from
it.
China.
People who use Temu love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's all right now on hold. None of that is coming into the country right now as we try and figure out this tariff situation. And then, of course, you have Elon Musk getting into the computer systems of all these different agencies, having access to a lot of people's personal data. The president yesterday saying that he wants to take over the Gaza Strip and turning it into the Middle East Riviera. I mean, I don't even know where you want to start, Bill. I mean, just an overwhelming amount of stuff right now.
Would there be a casino? I was wondering. That would be nice.
If Donald Trump's in charge of it, I guarantee there would be.
There would be. So, and this is me, not you, Ryan. This is me saying this. I do, and you're watching the approval rating tick downward, which is still in the honeymoon period. But here's all I will say. And if you're the most avid, dedicated Trump supporter out there, I'm only going to.
In your listening audience, I'm sure
they are, and I would say this, that every time someone loses their job, every time someone's locked out of their computer, every time you have another agency, and it not only affects the employees there, but it affects recipients, people who are involved in those programs, and you have delays. It is withering away support. And at what point do you reach a point where you're right back to where you were 4 years ago? I'm not sure this is a great strategy. I get it. You get everything done all at once and then let the courts figure it out, but I'm not sure.
Well, this is what I'd say, Bill. I think that there hasn't been a single thing that Donald Trump has done yet that he didn't forecast that he was going to do.
That's true.
And if you're surprised by any of this, you weren't paying attention. Elon Musk was on the stage at Madison Square Garden the month before the election and proclaimed to the crowd with Howard Lutnick standing next to him that they were going to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. That was the promise. And that was a month before the election. They wrote a book called Project 2025, which outlined every single thing that they are doing in very rapid succession right now in Washington. So none of this is a surprise. This is what Donald Trump promised he was going to do. He promised to cull the federal workforce. He promised to get rid of the Department of Education. He promised to end foreign aid all around the world. These were all the things that his supporters happily embraced, and it's one of the reasons they voted for him.
However, the only thing I would say is a lot of times what you hear often is he doesn't really mean that. I mean, he says stuff to mess with, right?
Well, that was going to be my next point.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, I think that there were a lot of Trump supporters who thought that he was kind of reaching as far away as he could as a way to get people's attention. But then when he actually got in there, he was going to be a little bit more practical. And then the other thing I would say about it is, I think in theory, this idea of eliminating 100,000 federal workforce jobs and cutting $2 trillion and ending controversial foreign aid programs sounds good in theory. That sounds like something I want to do. I want you to spend that money that you're spending in Mozambique in Detroit.
Yes.
That's not exactly how this process works. There's a reason that money's invested in certain areas and not invested in certain areas or spent in a different way. And I think that when the practical application of a lot of these kind of pie in the sky, kind of general ideas actually start to come into reality, and then there are people that are directly impacted by these decisions.
Yeah.
You're not getting your Social Security check because the system is gummed up. You see unrest in parts of Latin America that lead to more people trying to get into the country because the foreign aid program that was there before has been suspended. That's when I think people start to wonder and say, I don't know if this was such a good idea. The question is how quickly that manifests itself in the conscience of the average American, who right now sees Donald Trump as a disruptor, fixing a system that they think is broken, and they don't really have a problem with him taking a wrecking ball to it. At least those people that support Donald Trump.
Can I want to take the other side a little bit because and to be fair, I think Americans are frustrated, and I think that there is money wasted. And when you hear some of these stories, so-and-so just got a grant for $500,000, and we're gonna figure out finally once and for all how sperm really works in the great whale and the great white shark or whatever. You know what I'm saying. So I think there's a lot of wasted. I do think people want it cleaned up. I'm just not sure if the pendulum is swung so far that maybe you don't end up accomplishing the goal. I guess that's the fear.
That's going to be the test of this administration, right? It is the way they cut things and where they cut it from and how that impacts the average American. That's going to determine whether or not Donald Trump's administration is a success, or if, in rapid succession here in the next 2 years, there's a kind of a revolt by the average American and they throw Republicans out of power in Congress. Now, there is also a separate conversation here, Bill, that we haven't touched on yet that I think is really important, is that Donald Trump made all these promises and said he was going to do all these things. The way he is going about doing them, I think, is very questionable. It's one thing to say, I'm going to be the president, the budget that I am going to write and that the Congress that I'm going to work with is going to cut all these things, is going to reshape all these departments, it's going to get rid of all of them. That is constitutionally allowed. And if he does that and he gets the support from Congress, there's not much you can say about it. What he is increasingly doing right now, though, is making an end run around the three branches of government and shutting down programs, halting funding with situations that were congressionally appropriated and signed into law. And Democrats believe he's breaking the law by doing that. And, his argument will be Congress does it isn't effective, blah, 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 blah. We can't do it this way. But I think the real test here is whether or not Congress is going to assert itself in this process and be a co-equal branch of government versus just let Donald Trump do whatever the heck he wants. Because if they set that precedent, I don't think there's any coming back from that. You're going to have such an enormously powerful executive branch that Congress is just going to be a secondary player in all of this. And that's not the way the Founding Fathers intended it. And I'm not exactly sure if that's resonating now with the American people about just how bold he is being in trying to seize executive branch power. And I'm sure there are people listening to you this morning that are Donald Trump supporters that are like, he's the only guy that can fix this. He can do whatever the heck he wants. Well, if he's not the president 4 years from now, and it's maybe Kamala Harris comes back or it's Gavin Newsom, I don't think that you're going to be happy with the idea that they're just going to go in and cancel all these programs that you care about without getting congressional approval.
And God, is that what we're going to have? We're going to have this, all of these programs, and then 4 years later, they're all gone. And 8 years later, they come back. I mean, that's the type of stuff where congressional...
That is absolutely a scenario that you could see. A yoking back and forth, never any sort of established initiative that you see through from the beginning to the end.
Andrew.
Yep.
Oh, I don't have it.
Oh, you don't? Okay. You're not? You sure? You look like you're about ready to say something.
There were some executive orders that reversed a lot of stuff from Trump's first 4 years, but I mean...
not like this.
No, Andrew, listen, I'm not saying that this is a pattern that was really started in earnest in the Obama years, where Obama was frustrated after they lost control of the Congress after his first 2 years, where he started doing a lot of work through executive order. That continued through in the Trump administration, and Biden continued it as well. It has now been sped up. I think that what Trump saw in his first 4 years, a level of frustration that he couldn't get things done with Congress, and then saw Biden take kind of similar executive actions, the best example being the student loan forgiveness program, which, by the way, the courts have almost universally stopped.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been, that never really manifested itself. But now Trump is saying, I'm just going to throw so much at you, and I'm going to undo it before the courts even have a chance to stop it from happening. And I think he's really testing the limits of where the Constitution says the power of the executive begins and ends. And I just don't know if he's doing it in a way that we may not be able to come back from.
Here's Chuck. Let me understand. The USA is at least $36 trillion in debt. Bill and Ryan, or not so noble Ryan, are upset that there's spending cuts. No, you're not listening. That is not what he or I are saying. It's, if you're good with this now, you better damn well be good with it when a Democrat gets in and puts everything back and, oh, by the way, spends 10 times more. Then
they'll get themselves unelected again.
And the cycle continues.
And that's and I really want to emphasize that point. I am not in favor or opposed to spending cuts. That's not my responsibility. I'm just telling you the way that this process plays itself out. And right now, congressional Republicans are trying to come up with $1 trillion in cuts. They can't do it. They are supposed to have a budget resolution this week where they're going to initially introduce their kind of top-line plan to cut $1 trillion. And guess what they're finding? They're in these conversations in closed doors, and everybody has their prize pot. They don't want to cut from the military. They don't want to cut from entitlement programs. They don't want to cut from programs that feed poor kids. And the issue you run into with this every single time is it sounds good on paper to balance a budget for 36, to get rid of this $36 trillion in debt. When the reality meets about how many stakeholders involved and how many people rely on the federal government, that's when it gets hard. And if you're the president and you can just start to zero out budgets that the duly elected members of Congress appropriated and voted for, and they're all bipartisan, these budgets that are enacted, they cannot pass without both Republicans and Democrats voting for them.
Listen,
so these are Republicans that voted for these budgets that now Donald Trump is basically just ignoring.
You're losing your republic is really what's happening. You're losing our way of checks and balances and our way of government, the way it works. Now, maybe the conclusion is it doesn't work anymore. Maybe that's our conclusion. This doesn't work anymore. But make no mistake.
Donald Trump's certainly testing that theory for sure.
Right,
yeah.
But make no mistake, this is challenging that right now. This is giving the executive branch all the power to make change. And hey, listen, if you're good with that, have at it. But let me tell you, my fear is it's not going to end well.
Well, and the thing, too, that you have to understand is your most direct link to the federal government is your member of Congress, the member of the House of Representatives. That's the person that you have the best chance of getting an audience in front of. That's the person that you have the best chance of getting an email returned from. That's the best chance of going to a town hall and asking them questions. And it's also the person that you have the most power over getting in or out of office. If you pull all the power away from that person,
it's going to affect you personally.
Connection to your federal government is evaporated. And you can vote for president every 4 years, but I got news for you. If you live in New York State in particular,
it's not going to matter, right? It's not going to matter. Ryan, out of time. I hate to do it. Awesome, interesting. It's got everybody's blood boiling. You have a great week. Rest of the week. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Lisa here from Fit Body Boot Camp. February is Heart Health Month, and we're here to remind you how important it is to take care of your heart. At Fit Body Boot Camp, we know that heart health is key to overall wellness, and we're proud to support Go Red for Women this month. Every workout you do strengthens not just your muscles, but also your heart. Whether it's breaking a sweat in a high-energy session or committing to a healthy lifestyle, small choices make a big impact. Let's come together this month and take care of our hearts. At Fit Body Boot Camp, we want you to live your best life.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-995-8110. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-995-8110. 800-995-8110. That's 800-9...
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome. W295DI. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. A Town Square media station.
Searching for a gunman who shot up his workplace. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This pattern is too common in our country, and we must do better.
Sloan Spalding is the mayor of New Albany, Ohio, outside Columbus, where a gunman opened fire at a cosmetics plant late last night, killing one coworker, wounding 5 others. Police Chief Greg Jones says
our state partners and federal authorities immediately began to try to track the suspect down. We are doing so as we speak.
A police officer is being mourned in North Las Vegas, Nevada, killed when he confronted an armed man who's also dead, hit by return fire. Reaction keeps coming in to President Trump's controversial plan to rebuild Gaza, where a ceasefire still holds. Majed al-Ansari, an advisor to Qatar's prime minister, just told Fox,
no one player around the world can do it alone. This has to be an international effort led by countries like the United States in order for us to have a sustainable peace in the region.
Here's the president's plan.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it.